Hello guys, how you doing? Give me a second. Right, here guys. Right, I will not have any interruptions. We got hello Sammy, hello Babs. We'll wait for a few people to come in. We're gonna have a good stream. No one's not gonna. Let's go. Anyone forward? You won't be letting. This is a proper show. And thank you. Press the likes, guys. I think this is going to be a very interesting, stream. I will wait for Dale to come. Hope you're all well. Irish is in the place. Oh, no, we won't. I had a few trolls earlier, but they're gone. And like I said, peeps, it's about the content and not the views. But once we do a show like this and people get to know the interesting stuff, then we will carry on with shows, but that will be put pressure. But Sammy was on about. I just spoke to Sam. She was on about Babs. I think you need to talk to Sam. She wants to do a thing with you. I'll leave that to Sammy. So pick up 9. Right, Teresa. Hello, Teresa. We're going to have a good little show here. I just spoke to Dale. I said I think Moon is coming. I see Keith James is put up a live, but obviously he could do his thing. Yes, it is, Teresa. Friday nights it's a bit offish, isn't it? Because people go because they've had a drink and that. Well, we're going to do it for Sunday, but I was determined to do this properly and have a great show. Feel free if you want to come and speak, Teresa. That'd be good. Put the minx thing in again. So I was looking through my list of the energy thing from the channel I got back. I think I'm going to have to keep that as normal. And I just have to work up the bloody football channel. It's really hard work doing that at the moment, but I might do it on here tomorrow. So I'm leading down a dark alley with this subject, but we'll see. I'm early for a change. They must be shocked. He thought he might be just leaving it for a little while. So I'll come on. Yeah, it is good, isn't it? And do you know what, Babs? I mean, Trees, I like to just do the content and not worried about the thing. All right, we had the views earlier, but was it enjoyable? Not really. So, should be here in a minute. Oh dear. Also, Criminal Mind, and people seem to like. Yeah, that should be good. Oh, Criminal Minded. Oh, God, we'll have a lot jumping on that then, won't we, on here, mate? Irish is our gangster on here. Yeah. Mm. So, pick up 13. Please hit the likes, guys. It always helps to make the channel grow. What are you doing, Irish? Oh, yeah. Hi, Strawberry. We're going to have a nice chilled stream today. I'm just waiting for Dell. I'm sure he'll be here. So, does anybody knows about this subject? Just waiting for Dell. Did I give him a different time? Let me check. Unusual for him. I had proper homemade peppercorn steaks grills with just plain old noodles. I'm hitting the carbs at the moment. Gosh, you, Teresa, sausage and mash. You always got to be coarse. Running kidding, Teresa. Trying to be happy, keep happy, and have a good little thing. Yeah, they were like these grills. You got about 6 of them. I got them in the butcher's. They were okay. You're waiting for a thunderstorm. What, here or outside? Strawberry. So I see King James is going live direct. Got a warning. Actually, he's starting to feel a little bit. You can't beat a good bang. Oh, Teresa, what you like? It's been on and off it. First thing in the morning. Do you know what? It's really weird. My son's been waking up at 5 and 4 in the morning, and you know what? I am shattered. I shouldn't be shattered because I always stay awake anyway. think he gets confused from because it gets daylight quite early, so I think he gets confused with the timing. To be fair. All right, big up 20. Just waiting for Dale. And Moon said she was popping along. Something might just be having that might be having a dinner or something. You're about, Sammy. Do you want to jump on for a minute? Yeah. Yeah, it's been quite humid here though, Irish, to be fair. So last stream was a bit interesting. Yeah. Bit interesting, wasn't it? I thought I was nice and calm, which I was quite happy with, yeah. Um, I was actually. The gaslighting didn't work, did it? So I was quite good with that. Was it drama, Stevie? I don't think it was actually. With the Chris CFC thing, it was just a chat. I thought uh, Taffy wasn't a shouting match. Uh, I think he tried to gaslight me, but it's not going to happen. Not interested. Not interested at all. Actions is better in words. And me with Taffy, I ain't got no interest of fighting over with him. To be fair, not at all. I just don't want him here coming over here. And that's it. Not interested. If Dan Tarragon turns up on the panel, I'll let him on because he can hold a conversation, regardless if you don't like what he likes. Oh, here comes Seaside. What have you been up to, Seaside? My little scouse leprechaun. Oh, God. You behave yourself. Delve's coming on here, Seaside. I don't want you being rude to him. All right? Full warning. It's my right hand man. Oh, well, what have you been up to then, Mickey? Yeah, full warning, Mickey. My right hand man, you don't be rude to him or you're. Yeah. Why do you call yourself Seaside Mark? Is it because you're gay, or I don't know? Is it because you're um you like going to Brighton? I don't know, Mick. We got 22. Oh, well, crowd. Yeah. Does anybody know much about this subject, guys? If Dell pops in the chat, just tell her I'm just going to the loo quick, okay? I'll be 2 minutes.
Hello. Oh, okay.
He'll be here, Dale. He's most probably preparing for the show and he's forgotten the time.
Oh, right. So, what's the show going to be about tonight then?
Mudslides. Hang on.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I should have known that. How are you anyway?
Unless we agreed on a different date. I don't know. It's unusual, but it's normally on time. Mud Floods historical reset timeline.
Yeah.
Might have fallen asleep actually. Or he might have got called into work.
Yeah.
Oh, here
Possibly.
he is.
Oh,
Yay.
hello. Good to see you, Del.
He makes me
You're
laugh when he comes.
muted.
He's supposed to really getting a connection.
Yeah, good evening. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Can you check your email because I've sent you the links. I just was getting a few things sorted.
Sorry, no, it's okay.
No, you're okay. You're fine. You're okay.
Dale, yeah, that's okay, mate. That's cool because I'm proud of myself because I got here before you, mate.
Yeah. Yes, I'm late for a change.
Right.
How are you, Del? Anyway,
I'm all right.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'm
you
all
just
right.
done it now. Is it the one?
Yeah, you should. They should have the links in the
Okay,
email.
look, I'm going to go out and leave you two to the show.
You're fine.
I'm
You're
fine.
fine. You're fine.
You sure?
Yeah. You're fine.
Okay.
You're not
Oh,
like
right.
the trolls. It's those trolls we'll just don't deal with when we're.
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
the trolls, are you?
Oh, Dale, shall I just open one up then? And
No, I'm present. No, I'm present. I'm present. You don't have to do anything. I've just got the links for you to just sort of all there. So if people want to research themselves, when you're ready, you can put links in the chat when we're done, or you can put them in now if you want. But it's just so that if people want to do their own research and find out a bit more about some of the people that to get on with this stuff, then that's fine. I've just got one or two more things.
I've got to find out how I can do it.
But there's no rush. You get me? There's no rush.
All right, okay. I'll do it from my phone actually.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, it's just there's no rush.
Okay.
So this is going to be okay, isn't it, tonight? Because last time you did something similar, easy, it was hazing, and you ended up being
No. They're all banned from the thing, mate. It's going to stay like this, and that's what we want to do. We want to learn a few things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Get away from this crap. I think. So, Dale, what do you want to start with, mate? Well, mate.
And give me about another minute or so. I've just got to check one or two things, and then we'll get started. Everything's ready. I've just got to do something. So I'm just going to be quiet. I'm just going to mute myself, and then I'll give it about 2 more minutes, and I'll be ready.
Cool, mate.
Okie dokie.
So, babe, yeah, I'm all right, Babs. I think Sammy wants to get in touch with you about doing a ghost day or something.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah, that would be really good. Yeah.
I spoke to her this evening, actually. So,
she sent me a message, I think, 2 days ago, and she said she'll be in touch with me in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think she's just been a bit busy.
Because I want her to do me some trades for people that I know. So yeah.
Babs, would you have got any friends who want to do a show with you at all on it?
I don't know. I'll have a think about it, hun. I will have a think about it.
There won't be any other people. Only just be our regulars on the panel like there.
Yeah.
It won't be any of them.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
No. The ones if they want to have questions, they could put the questions in the thing.
Yeah. Cool. I saw what was it I was going to say? I can't remember now. Your show earlier. It was so funny. It was a good one. But I see our little friend was in the chat. Den. And it was like, okay. Was it Den or was it AJ? Oh, I think it was AJ Unlisted. Yeah, I get those two mixed up. Because they're both a pair of Mongos, so that's why I get them both mixed up. Oh dear, I can't
Big
help
up,
it.
Corky.
Ah, Forky.
All right, what's your that Mark Feely thing? Yeah, I've done that because I was listening to something on the radio and it infuriates me when people say we shouldn't have paedophile hunters, and I just thought, no, this is, a couple of people on here have said this, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to put it out there, to be honest with you, because that
Yeah.
guy, Mark Feely's a fucking pest.
Oh,
How many
know.
times he's been caught, and he keeps.
Why don't they just put him away permanently?
I think.
I really don't know why they don't just turn around and
It reminds me of a white Homer.
yeah. I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
Who else is here tonight?
Irish, why am I crazy, Irish? I know I'm crazy, but I want to know why I'm crazy.
There's all sorts of reasons, Easy. Well, I think we're all crazy.
Oh God, I'm a lunatic, mate.
At least you admit to it, hun.
Have you
Have I what?
Oh right, no. The reason I said that, Irish, is because in the movement she's in, Irish, that's why. She's most probably knows the same people I knew quite a few years ago. That's all I was on about. Talking about your demos and that.
Right, yeah.
That's what I meant.
I wouldn't bring any of my outside mates anyway.
No,
because they're not
I'm on about-
interested in all this sort of
No,
stuff. So
I mean,
yeah.
your people you go on demos.
yeah.
Like I say, I'm trying to keep the flow of the subject and that. But I just need other panelists to help me with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm with my condition, I'll read everything and prepare for a show, then I forget. So I just need a sort of co-host, really, sometimes. I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it, though. I'm getting used to it. Yeah. So we say hello then. All right. We've got a few Scousers in the chat. We've got Heathen, Strawberry, Urban's a German. Seaside Man, another Scouser. Falky from Bristol. Irish Flame from Belfast. And there's Teresa from Liverpool.
Hochi of cake, like you, Babs. What? I don't know what you're on about, Seaside Mike.
Our great friend from Israel is here. Hello, mate.
Irish. Pauline. Stevie, all the normal, lovely people. Teresa.
Mickey, you behave yourself tonight. Otherwise, that will go. You're on your last chance, yeah?
You're asking for miracles, asking him to behave, aren't you?
You don't disrespect any of my guests. Hi, Teresa. Hi, gorgeous. Funky's down the pub.
Hi, Ricochet.
Funky's on the pool.
Funky, you on the pool again? Jesus Christ.
Hey, even jump on, lad. It's a subject. It's nothing can be. You won't get me struck this time. Oh, Heathen. I've got my channel back, Heathen.
Yeah, what's this about? What have you got to do to for your channel?
Oh, I just got to reactivate it if I want, but I'm not doing it for a little while.
But they said you don't have to reactivate it; you just get it back.
No, I couldn't. No. There's a link they give you to react.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I'm leaving it.
Yeah,
for
see,
the
they
moment.
don't know everything, do they?
No, I'm leaving.
Ones.
No, they don't know everything. It's all
No.
bollocks. Yeah,
Yeah.
what they want. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I was going to say, I just want to build this one up. Yeah, and then do what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just have a nice, like,
Mhm.
that's what you
I just want to build this one up, and then I'll stop. No, they
Yeah.
don't put it back up. If they take it down, it's up to you if you want to take you accept or not accept.
All right, yeah,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
different situation for my one. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking
Because
Camdoff
it's
was
got
over
to
there
be
saying,
reactivated, and it takes 24 hours to be reactivated.
oh, yeah, well, Camdoff was over there this afternoon saying, oh, he's lying. 'Cause if you get your channel back, you just get it back. And
No,
it's
you
like,
don't.
oh,
No,
shut up.
they took everything down.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it
Why
all
is
back
it
though.
so dark?
Sorry,
You're gonna get it. Are you gonna get everything back though? Are they giving you everything back, or apart
well,
from that
this
one?
is it. This is it. I'll most probably get. I'll get my subs back.
But you might not get the video you got struck down for back. They think that's what they'll keep.
No, I doubt if I will get that back because they don't want anything that played, do they? But the reason I got it back is because I had when I realised what it was, I put the recorder on my phone. Every time I spoke about it.
Yeah.
So I sent that recording to them and said, look, I was debunking it. There was something about anti-Semitism. I was debunking the Jewish question, basically.
Yeah.
I was against it, and they took a look at it. But the funny thing is, right, I did have another strike on there, and I thought I'd done that ages, and they looked into the other strikes, and they took them off and said you wasn't supposed to have them either. So,
all right. Well, at least they've all been struck off. Then that's a good thing.
yeah, but I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna just build this one up there. Yeah, now
Okay.
I'm in the mood for it. I've had about 60 subs in a week and a half.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm.
If everybody shares and likes, then
Cam doesn't know what she's talking about.
no, she's a nobody.
I know what I'm doing, and plus my open debate channel will be active again. And that's going to have some corkers of the shows we done. Yeah.
Oh gosh, we've got some long ones. We did all nighters with AJ.
Yeah,
that was
so-
during lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah. So AJ, just this Indian guy from America, Babs.
Oh, right, yeah.
He used to get a little bit funny when he had a drink, though.
All right, okay.
But he was good with everything else.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, enthusiastic, everything he does, He was good. I hope he comes around again. I had that one with that Zionist guy. Do you remember that Zionist guy, Del?
No, I don't know if I was there when you did that one.
He was on Wendy's and Jupiter's at time. He was from Holland.
I don't know if I was with him when that happened.
And I had to pull him up and said, you're a little bit extreme. It was Charlie Big Potatoes who was on the panel at the time. I'm just I can't remember his name, Can't remember his name. He was quite militant, to be fair. I quite liked him. Right. Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Don't have to do it if you don't want to do. I don't mind.
Yeah, I suppose so. I was just like, yeah, pretty much. The way he said that, man, he said, "You ready?" I'm like, yeah, pretty much. We can get started.
If you're not in the mood for it, mate, it's cool.
We've got what's its name? If you just check your emails, I've sent you I've sent you one more bit of information. They're just some books that people can read as well. So you've got two sets of email, just so they can do their own due diligence. That's all.
Okay, what I'm gonna do? You start off, mate. I'm gonna get it on from my phone and copy it from there.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So let's take my time. There's no rush.
Oh yeah, take time, man. Do you know much about this, Babs?
No, I don't. That's why I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, okay.
Just checking something here. Why it's not come up? Okay, that's fine. Right. We'll look at do it from tab. Because it's the only one that's in tab.
Oh,
Okay.
it's not letting me copy the bastard.
Didn't it? Do you know? Talk about inconvenience.
Right, boy, dear. Do you know that second one you done? Was that just a photo you've sent?
Yeah, they're just the books that people can get. They're just
Oh,
the books,
right.
so people know what books they are. Otherwise,
Not an
they won't know
idiot.
what
Not an idiot. Okay, I got you. All right.
the names of the
why I
books are in there. Yeah, go on.
What an idiot. Okay, I've got you.
Just so if you quote the books, they can quote them books and put the links to the books in if you want. But yeah, but there's some books if people want to get a book, read and stuff, they can. But yeah, but that's up to them. You never know who's going to research what they want to research. So that PowerPoint should be open. Yeah, it's still there. That's fine. Put it on slideshow beginning when it comes up, so it's there. That's fine. And now I just need to share screen in tab. Now can it find it? Wrong one. There. Share screen in window. And there you go, it's found it. Because you looked for the right one this time.
I'll put the articles in.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay.
Who's that?
All right, that's me.
All right.
That's you. Right, he's put the articles in. Right, can you see what I'm seeing? Can you see what I can see?
Yeah, mud flood. Hang on, I'll make it bigger. Hang on.
All right.
Is that better?
All right, if they can see, I can't see anything because when I'm presenting, I can't. So you're gonna have to relay the chat if the chat are okay or not. Because I don't know what that. Because I can't. I can only do this while I'm thinking. So if the chat can't
Guys,
see,
can you see it?
if they're all right, then I can start.
I can see it. Okay.
Yeah. I think they can see it. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. As long as they can see it, that's fine. That's not a problem. So the links that Easy's put in is to the subject matters that we're going to be covering. Some of the links go a little bit further in depth. Look at them and do your own due diligence. There's a couple of books that I've also you can look at as well. That I've also given Easy. So all that stuff is put into the chat, so you can do your own due diligence. But I've looked at this subject, and there's quite a few people, which is why I've referenced some books and some researchers online. So there's many people who've looked into the subject. One of them is called a guy called, I've actually spoken with a guy called Martin Lidker, who's very, very, very clever. Me and him did an interview on Jeremy Poole show. A guy called Martin Lidker. He's very well versed in these matters. Somebody else who's very well versed in these matters and done a lot of research is a lady called Michelle Gibson, which is some of the links that I've given everybody in the
Oh,
chat.
I've heard of Michelle Gibson.
Yeah, she's really good. Her and obviously Martin Licker. But obviously I've put some links in there. David E. Ewing, who's done a book on it as well.
Yeah.
That's a good research you can look into. So I've given you 3 different resources. And there's some different areas because some of it's covering Asian civilization, some of it's covering the world affairs, some of it's covering the mud flood stuff. It's kind of a mixture, and some of it's covering ancient Tatari as well, because it's quite a vast area of areas you touch on when you're talking about the civilization. Because from what I've learned is that the civilization was actually global. So Tatari was, which you're going to get in on this, getting on this subject anyway. Tatari was one part of it. Then you had the old Washita. They were part of it. They were in where, and the old Maya and the old Washita. They were in where what they call America today. The Tartarians, the Tatars, they were where people call Russia, modern day Russia, and the Phoenicians and the Egyptians were obviously Africa, stroke, Persia, that kind of Middle East area. So, but the societies, from what I'm look at, were pretty much they all knew each other, even though they don't talk about it now. But all the buildings we still have as evidence today. We still have all the evidence today that they existed because it's in the buildings, which is what I'm going to be showing and explaining as part of this talk. It's going to cover those areas as well as those societies that were there. And this is not all that long ago. So
Okay.
So as you look, you can see all the so-called religions.
Yeah.
But it's not. They're all new the ancient science of what all the civilizations were. So the Washita Moors, pronounced Mo, refers to the Mu or Lemuria, which was one of the Asian continents, which is being downed now. It's not. It was where it's near where South America is, but further across. But due to what happened during certain periods when we fell during electric wars, that's when that and Atlantis were both taken out at the same time. That's not what this talk's here today. But Mu was the other continent. The ancient ones, the oldest indigenous civilization on Earth. The ancient advanced civilization was a kind of civilization where each being knew it was sovereign and yet was an integral part of the whole collective. It was all about aligning heaven and earth in the fullest expression, hence why the pyramids still aligned to most of the stars today, and some of the Maya pyramids as well as the pyramids in the Yucatan Peninsula as well. You've also got some pyramids in Europe as well that Peter Moon talks about. A lot of people don't realize that. And there's also some in China, as well as the one in there's some in Sudan that they don't talk about as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to get back to where I was, so heaven and earth in the fullest expression of human potential that there has ever been on earth, higher than even Atlantis and Lemuria were reputed to be. Pure human genius and group unit consciousness, which I would say is kind of what Avatar was talking about. That's the closest thing I can think of that you could look at reference to that's very similar was Avatar, because that's where they were all kind of very similar when it was on a higher dimensional level. So yeah, but that's a good film that people could watch today that is very similar to where we're coming from. So anyway, Moorish or American masters, adepts in the present day, are wisdom keepers of the ancient sacred Kemetic mysteries and knowledge of all creation. They are living practitioners in Egyptian yoga known as Yochita, Samai Tawa, or Wajit yoga and Medu-Neter, the language of the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The Holy Trinity is the God, Goddess, Child, which is similar to how the Vatican still do it today with the Holy Father, Holy Son, Holy Ghost. But the principles are still similar. Osiris, Isis, Horus. Each human being is a living hologram of the universe with all the powers of Source, and our sole purpose of existence is ultimately to reunite with our higher self and balance our masculine and feminine qualities along the lines of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, God, Goddess. Up until relatively recently, the Assyrian mysteries were once taught around the world. Organized religions that place Source squarely outside of ourselves, and ministers, priests, rabbis, and imams are intermediaries and interpreters for us to externalize God. They gave us the Pope, which still have to this day, whose word in certain circumstance is considered infallible and inviolable, holy books that create dogmatic thinking and control our spiritual beliefs. And so you've got these principles of Islam, which is I, self, law, master. You can see the depths, which is at the top here. It's the principles that it sits on its ancient principles, not in the ones that it says now, but they're the ancient principles that it sits on. I, self, law, and master, because obviously it's about you being that entity back to source. So now,
so Strawberry said, so we were all used to be blue.
Blue, depending on where you were in terms of your consciousness, would depend on how you resided. So I've always looked at more. Blue is more like fifth dimensional level consciousness. It's more like it's like a high level of consciousness that you existed on. But to be honest with you, some of the highest beings. I mean, I've got images of it, but just not on this particular thing that we're showing. But some of the Mashianic beings were much higher than that, and they was like rainbow colored and stuff. They said it was
a joke. Strawberry said it was a joke.
Well, so that's how I've interpreted that the beings were much higher, depending on where they were in the level of development. Will depend on how they resonated with the frequencies of the plane that they was in. So that's how I've learned about it anyway.
Teresa said, I'm blue. Oh, no, it's another joke. It's all right, Jill. Don't worry.
Okay. 12 tribe nations, sacred number, and the golden age, among other things, were followed by Apollo, St. Michael alignment across countries and continents, all the way to Jerusalem in Israel. They discussed records and traditions of the whole nations being divided into 12 tribes and 12 regions. And similar to the 12 constellations, you'll see there's a theme going on.
Yeah.
Which is always interesting. Each corresponding to one of the 12 signs of the zodiac and to one of the 12 months of the year. All formed around a sacred center, it stands to reason that these people would apply to the same concepts of harmony, balance, beauty, sacred geometry, and aligning heaven and earth to build their communities and themselves, that they apply to building all of the infrastructure on the planet. So that's what Spain used to be called before it was called Spain. Today it's called Al-Andalus. It's its old name. A lot of the countries have had the names changed, but hey, here we go.
Babs, are you getting the gist of it, Babs?
Yeah, I am, hon. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just sitting here quietly listening to Del.
Any questions, Del's really to
Yeah, I
answer?
will do. Yeah. Okay.
So Alex Putney has done excellent work on the subject of human resonance and sacred sites. And his work is another reason I believe that humanity existed in unity consciousness in an ancient civilization. He reveals that the sacred geometry involved in the placement of sacred sites, still got a lot of them today, like churches and mosques, and that's why all the religions have got all the ancient sites, like the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, similar to the Kaaba in Mecca. Most religions still got the ancient sites. They're still quite relevant to this day. He reveals that in sacred geometry involved in the placement of sacred sites, for example, is such that all are perfectly harmonically aligned with each other, and the pyramids of the Giza Plateau, which he says is a generator turned to the frequency of the human heartbeat. Those sacred sites were places people would go to in groups to synchronize their heartbeats. Stop there. I'm just stopped there for a pause. Are we all right to go?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into the.
You got any questions, Babs?
No, hon. No. I'll stop you if I have any.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is one of those old maps. So this is where the Tatars are from. So you can see that's what used to be people would have called Russia. That's where the Tatars are. So you can still see Europe still there. But obviously, this is Grand Tatars. This is an old map that I found quite a while ago. So Tataria, originally pronounced Tataria with the first R, is the name of the pre-Mongolian Empire that originated from northern Asia before spanning the entire northern hemisphere. Great Tataria was the largest empire during its time and would still have been the largest empire today. The Tatarian Empire flourished due in part of the civilization being a leader of advanced technology, free energy, and grand architecture. And I think I might even have some on this as well. Yeah, as you can see, and you got a lot of these buildings you still see to this day, even in Russia. In Russia, you still can see them. I've got some of the architecture even in this talk. Tataria is also where the Greek word Tatarios originated from. Denotation of lost souls spending eternity in Tatarius, the underworld, is due to the Tatarian Empire having been buried and wiped out during the mud flood. And that's where Michelle Gibson comes into it, which is why I've put the links in, as well as Martin Lidker. He's done some good research on that.
I've put them in already. Yeah.
So you can look at those when people are ready.
Yeah.
The world of the Tatarians is literally the world of of our underworld. And I'm going to show some. So you can see the buildings.
Yeah.
And underneath. And you find in most cities, you'll find that there's the catacombs. I did a good talk on this ages ago, and I might have done it on Jubes, and I'll show you all the ancient buildings with underneath the cities like Washington. These buildings underneath there. In Paris, the catacombs Paris, the Vatican, famous for its catacombs underneath there. Most places have buildings like underneath that when they were excavated due to happened in the 1700s. So the Tatarians are thought to have been breatharians, as being who does not rely on digestion and burning calories from food and water, but instead rather receives energy straight from the ether. The ether is thought to be the very fabric of the space-time continuum that some would associate with electrons, the wind, the Holy Spirit, the atmosphere, and the gases in the atmosphere such as oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen.
Oh, wow.
The Tatarians had free energy. Churches, which is still going to this day. If you go and look at the churches with the bells and the copper wires in them, you can see if you go and look in the churches yourselves, particularly cathedrals. Churches, cathedrals, mosques, and other buildings of worship were originally etheric power stations, water stations, and sound resonating acoustic healing centers, which
what kind of cathedrals?
The biggest ones in like St. Paul's,
Okay.
you know, any of your big ones in your main cities, they're all most of your cities are built on ley lines, so the churches are put on the ley lines. There's something I'll try and find, I'll dig out for you, that somebody's talking about that, and it shows the churches, and most of them are put on these ley line sites in this country.
Okay.
Guys, I need to leave you for a minute because I need to ring my son. Just had a message. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, but I'll be listening. Okay. How do I leave?
All right, easy.
I'm in, mate.
All right. Okay, well, am I right to continue on?
Of course. Yeah, carry on. It's all right.
The buildings that religionists use as places of worship in our present day originally functioned as hospitals during the reign of the Tatarian Empire. The Tatarian buildings are more similar in function to pyramids and temples found across the world than what we are led to believe by mainstream peer-reviewed science. So it gets more interesting. So this is the states upside down. These are the grid lines. You can see the grids. So there's a high level of deception going on Earth. This deception, let's put it this way. Can you see the grids here, easy? That's being shown on the picture.
What on the pink thing?
Yeah, you can see them here. Can you see the grids? The alignments.
Yeah.
Pervades every aspect of our lives. It is in language, especially in English language. For example, the word grammar is derived from the word grimoire, which is a textbook for magic. And the word spelling just means that. Religion, education, and financial system, and governments, media, and entertainment, to name a few. Worldwide Asian infrastructure.
Hang on. Adele, was you supposed to have that bigger, that grid?
It's just that size because I could just about fit it in the way it's been fitted.
Oh,
It's fine that way.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah, it's just because.
Yeah, that's okay, mate. It's okay.
Mm.
I think somebody asked me. I
Mm.
think they're bloody trolling me tonight.
They might be trolling me at this rate. Worldwide air infrastructure, by calling them natural features and at least 4 distinct periods of construction and architecture, is that the same everywhere. That would be considered ancient, would be considered medieval, would be considered Renaissance, and that would be considered modern and is still in use, which it still is, because you still obviously all the structures, the churches and stuff to this day. We've still got them. Here's some of the old buildings. They're still here. Look, you can still see them. They're still there. Look, you still see them. And these are obviously still, these are like modern pictures. So given that the Moors were ruling Spain, which was called Al-Andalus back then. It's called Al-Andalus. It's not now Spain. But back then it's called Al-Andalus. That's why I showed that picture earlier. Ruling Spain during the time of this university was built. And not only do many have similar patterns to our towers and turrets, imposing size, it is reasonable to assume that they are part of an advanced civilization and that were responsible for building these colleges and universities. So you can see these buildings, you can see them. I think that might be Madrid. I think I've mentioned it even in this talk. So Master Maurice Mason built these tremendous architecture and engineering feats.
Hang on, Strawberry says they can't see the pictures. I think that's the only size he could get them in for, Strawberry.
Yeah, because when I was doing the presentation, unfortunately. Although I'll be able to I'll be able to dig the pictures out and just send them to anywhere to make them much bigger anyway.
Yeah.
If they can't see them at all, if that's the case. But I'll just get into some ancient history.
I was saying you can't see nothing. They can't
at
see
all. Oh, nothing not in the page, nothing.
Hang on, let's have a look. Oh Christ, my fault. Hang on. It's that. What's your thing under G? Google.
Yeah, I'll just stop.
Is it?
I'll stop again. I'm just going to stop this so you can see. Right, I'll just stop that because I'm reading something. I just assumed everybody could see. I'm glad they've actually said right.
So did I. Okay.
Right, what am I doing? What do you need me to do, Easy?
We need to share that thing what you had.
Okay, I can put it back up again. That's fine.
Is there a setting I haven't done? Hang on. All right, I didn't know. Turn on video.
Right, can you see this?
I can see it.
Right, you need to see if the chat can see it or not.
Can you see it now? Can you see it now? Hurry up, answer. Yes.
All right, that's fine. I didn't want to go. That's why they were saying they couldn't see anything. I'm there reading away, and they're saying we can't see anything. The chat. If the chat didn't know, because I can't see the chat from here. Because when I'm presenting, I can't see the chat.
No, I thought they said they couldn't see that little grid. Okay, right, we're here. Sorry, guys, my fault.
So the chat. See, that's what I mean. They probably wouldn't seen this. I was showing that, and they probably couldn't see it because I didn't make it obvious. That's what they were trying to say, because I can't see the chat, so you're gonna have to tell me because I can't see it. So the chat have to let you know, because I can't.
It's all good now,
you can't do those two things at the same time.
Yeah, it's all right. I naturally thought they could see it because I could see it. You see, yeah. So it's sorted.
All right, so long as they can see it, that's fine. So that's why they were all saying they couldn't see it, and I didn't even know because I can't read the chat. They're telling you, Easy, you've got to follow the chat. That's not me, innit? Like you've got to. They're telling you they couldn't see because I can't see that while I'm doing this.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. All that time I've been showing them stuff. I don't know what they've not seen. Then I don't know if they didn't see them.
No, Joe, I misunderstood them. I thought they couldn't see that grid on the side. Yeah,
I don't know if they've seen all this. I don't know if they've seen all this stuff I was showing about the Grand Tatarians. I don't know if they've seen any of these.
Oh, right.
I missed all of this.
I could see it.
They might have missed everything. They might have missed everything. They might have missed everything. Do you know what I mean? That was all the imagery I was sharing. They wouldn't even have known because you didn't take off. You got to watch the chat easy because I can't see the chat while I'm doing the presentation. I
Yeah,
can't-
sorry, pal. I just thought they could see it because I can see it.
No wonder they were saying what they were saying. So that's all the pictures. Oh, sorry, chat. I didn't even realize. I just assumed that they could. I didn't
Hi,
know.
Lils. Okay, it's going again. Sorry, Del.
No, so long as they can see it now, I'm just going to share them. I don't know if they can see it now. If they've seen all the pictures, I'm just sharing.
Yeah,
with
they
them.
said they could see it.
Okay, that's fine. Fucking goodness. All that time I was there going away, and there's like they sat there just listening, thinking, "What on earth is he talking about? The idiot! We can't even see anything." No wonder they're saying what they were saying. I didn't even realize. So this is the airship
Sorry, I
building.
was trying to do 3 things at once. I was watching, so yeah. But my fault, Del. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just that they were telling
Irish
you.
said nut me. Irish said nut me.
Mm.
He said chin me one. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so they can see these buildings now that are shown. So this is actual real buildings. You can go to Madrid and you'll see these buildings. These are actual pictures that I pulled off from the Madrid University. It's not fake. So the oldest institution, the University of Madrid, was established in 1293. It's important to note that the Moors were still ruling Al-Andalus, it's called Spain now, Al-Andalus at that time, according to the conventional history we have been taught. According to the history book, the Moors ruled Spain from 711 AD to 1492. The examples in Europe, Asia, and South Pacific, North America shown in the post are virtually the same design features with some variations. So that's the Museum of Madrid, but you can see that there, and that's still there to this day. That's an old building. So I'm sharing some of the older buildings now. You can still see them, and I'm establishing where they are. But these are similar buildings built by the same societies, even though they're different parts of the world. A really great example of what I saw is a very common style of architectural style of colleges and universities around the world. The establishment date given for each institution may or may not reflect when the building was actually completed. Given the remarkable consistency of the architecture, design features like these colleges and universities across the planet, what is more reasonable to believe is that there is some kind of universal template somehow in use over centuries in diverse cultures across continents around the world on how to build a university.
Okay. Wow, that's a bit of amazing building, isn't it? Yep.
So this is the part of the reset timeline because these are world affairs. I think I'll talk about this as well. But I've given reference points to this, and it's in the links that you've put in the chat for those in the chat.
Yeah.
Those who became the ruling class and their associates and bankers, oilmen, transportation magnates, and manufacturers believed the official start of the historical time reset and the grand opening of the New World Order was the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of all nations in 1851. This is an event that actually took place. It's not no fake event I'm talking about. And I put the information in the links that I've sent. You can research it, and you'll see that it's not something I've just made up.
So are you saying, Del, this was the start of the New World Order?
Yeah, that's why I talk about the mental muddle reset timeline. That the society was reset in the 1700s, and we've had the world affairs, which it's in this talk of the world affairs, with the events where they were showing those information, and then the rest, and then those information is then taken to the Vatican, and the Vatican has still got that to this day. But we still got some of the buildings because the buildings are all over the planet. You've seen the buildings. I was showing some of them earlier. In fact, most of the big buildings now, ancient structures are still very similar. You'll see the architecture the same all over. Held in Crystal Palace in Hyde Park in London, it was the first in a series of world fairs, exhibitions, and expositions that I believe over the next 100 years or so were showcasing the technology and agricultural wonders of the original civilization before being hidden away or forever destroyed. It's hidden away. They went to the Vatican. I know where most of the stuff's gone. But this is the expositions. This is the stuff that they knew about from that civilization.
Yeah.
As a communication of medium, the world affairs of the 19th century were the contemporary equivalent to the present day World Wide Web, given the enormous attendance figures which far exceeded the reach of all other media. The historical significance of international expositions can hardly be overstated. From the opening of the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of all nations in London in 1851. You can research that, and I have put links in for you, but you can research that. Not some illusion I'm talking about, but it's fascinating. If you do some due diligence, there's evidence of it that they had these world affairs. There's plenty of them. Onwards, lad. Go on.
That's quite interesting. Because, carry on. Sorry, Del. I'm thinking out loud now. Go on.
Onwards, large expositions were held periodically in almost all major cities. The aim was to present to an international audience the miniature version of the world that was as true to scale as possible, present only for a limited time at a clearly defined site within an ever-changing host city. This article gives an overview of the historical development of the 19th century mass and metamedium, describes it as the most significant forms of functions and effects, and discusses the extent to which I'm going to move this out of the way just so that I don't, they can see, to which the world affairs in Europe have decreased in an impact since the beginning of the 20th century. And I think I've got the dates for these. You can research them, but I have given you clues when I were what's its name in when I was
I put the link in. I have.
Yeah, there we go. The International Universal Exhibitions of the 19th century claim to be an encyclopedic in scope and documentary in approach. Their aim was to present a miniature version of the world that was as true to scale as possible, present for a limited time, at clearly defined site within the host city, organized at regular intervals. These exhibitions saw objects considered representative of their places of origin brought together from all continents of the world. Artifacts, many in the Vatican now, were displayed in accordance with repeatedly reconfigured classificatory systems, which became ever more complex and regionally specific. World fairs were visited by millions of people hailing from the respective host city itself, the region, and the nation, as well as unprecedented numbers of international visitors. In this way, they experimented with the possible forms. And I'm not sure we can move this out of the way, so I can just make sure that we can all see it.
Is that building inside the palace still?
Yeah, that's a representation what it's like. Forms of a future mass and global society. The world's fairs thus inhabited a space between locality, nationality, and globality. So there you go. And this is what they're showing. They're showing those ancient stuff. So this is where you can find more. This is the dates when that actually took place. So when I was doing the research this. So the stylistic vocabulary of the new medium initially developed in the context of intra-European competition between capital cities, initially between London, 1851-1862, and Paris, 1855-1867, 1878, 1889, 1900, and 1937,
in Liège.
And subsequently between Paris and Brussels between 1888, 1897, 1910, 1935, and 1958. So that's not even that long ago. Later in the 19th century, large expositions were also held in Vienna, 1873, Antwerp, 1885, 1894, and 1930, Barcelona in 1888, 1929, and 1930, Turin in 1884 and 1911, and Liège in 1905, and Milan in 1906, and elsewhere. These infrastructural requirements alone dictated that large expositions were an exclusive urban phenomenon. The first two European world expositions not held in their respective capital cities were Exposición University de Barcelona in 1888 and Exposition Universal at International Liege in 1905. Besides Great Britain, I keep moving this thing out the way. Besides Great Britain, France and Belgium became the most influential host countries, though it has yet to receive the attention it deserves in the Berlin Exposition historiography. Germany, by contrast, played a lesser role among the hosts of the large expositions prior to the opening of the Expo 2000 in Hanover on May the 31st, 2000, with an exposition of Berlin Trade Fair held in Treptower Park in 1896. All attempts to organize the world's fairs in Germany, even in the imperial capital, failed, though various political circles repeatedly called for such an event, particularly after the unification in 1871.
I was going to say to you, it was a bit strange. Germany got mentioned, isn't it? In that, but then it said it had a lesser impact on anybody else in there, and that.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do was just stop there and let people find out what there was okay with everything that they've seen, and did they see everything, and did it not get interrupted this time? Hopefully, because last time I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, they can. You can see things. Can you guys? If you got any questions, guys?
So I'll just stop that there for a sec.
Cool.
Right.
There's no questions at the moment, but I know they can see.
That's all right. That's fine. So basically, what I wanted to do was play one of these.
I think they're taking it all in. To be fair, like I think Lodger, feel free to come on if you want. Lodger said it's really interesting, so they are listening, and they're just listening and taking it in. I think they'll.
Yeah. Well, basically, I will probably put on something that I found that Mr. L. Gibson talks about, and I'll play that in a second, and I think then we'll just chill for a bit because I think there's plenty of information with what I've given out. But there was one other thing I was going to play if I can find it. If you
we could do a second part of it another day if you want, Dale. If you want, mate.
I just wanted to show something.
Yeah, of course you can.
And then I think I'll show the World's Affairs because it might be worth me doing that. Seeing as we touched that briefly anyway.
Oh, it's a nice breeze.
Yeah, the nice breeze of you.
Yeah, take your time, Dale. You're doing brilliant. We appreciate what you're doing. I think people are really. Do you know what? I reckon we get some questions next, like tomorrow. I think it's all sinking in for a lot of people. You know, sometimes they just let things sink in, don't they? Because it's all very new to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. One minute, I've just got to find this now. I don't need to do that. I will do this though. Yeah, I found it. So there's two things I'm gonna play.
Okay,
I'll do this first.
What sources are they from, Dale? Before
say that again. Well, no, the sources are basically they're in the source. I'm gonna put this on anyway. Basically, they're in the links that I've sent you.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So I won't get struck at all.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah.
But I'm going to expose the next positions just a second.
Mhm.
This is some work by Michelle Gibson. So let me just clear this so that people can see it. I'll post this. If it's not in the, I'm sure this link's with the stuff that I've shown you, but if it's not, I'll repost it in the thing. But I know it is. So this is Michelle Gibson's work. May just it's right in front of you. You didn't even look. Let's make sure you see, you dimwit.
What's it called? So then.
No, it's me. I did. It's not you. It's me. I did something. I messed up. It's Michelle Gibson's work. It's about world affairs. It's just covering the world affairs. Just give me a second. You'll see it anyway as it comes up. Can you see that there? Can you see it now?
Yep.
So we're going to just cover this from this perspective.
Focusing on subjects in this series that needed dedicated videos based on noteworthy information that I found in my research. One of these subjects is exhibitions, expositions, and world fairs since 1851. My name is Michelle Gibson. The Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations of 1851 in London was the first in a series of World's Fairs, exhibitions of culture and industry that became popular in the 19th century. What does that 8-pointed star represent in the brochure for it, and the designs on the side? Here are details from the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater, a theater of Moorish appearance in Menominee, Wisconsin, on the right, compared with the brochure details on the left. Interesting to note that King Kalakaua of Hawaii on the left has 2 8-pointed stars pinned to his jacket in his portrait, and in this portrait of Prince Regent George on the right, his sash is covering a star with at least 3 points. I believe these were symbols and design elements important to the original ancient advanced Moorish civilization. I think there was a hostile takeover of the planet after a deliberately caused cataclysm that resulted in a worldwide flood of mud, which wiped out the original civilization. There was an almost 2-year period of extremely cold, enduring weather in Ireland between 1740 and 1741. The cause is not known, and this information is in the historical record, but is not common knowledge. Hundreds of thousands of people in Ireland died in the cold snap, about 1/5 of the population at the time.
Yo,
To
can
this
I
day,
just say
it is the
something?
longest period.
Yeah,
in
What occurred to me is most of this is about Europe, isn't it? In the Europe region.
No, the stuff that I showed you, the Tatarian stuff is not in Europe. That's Asia. The Europe stuff is I showed you is in Spain. It's Europe stroke Spain stroke Russia. So it's both that I've shown. I haven't shown all the stuff. I've just shown because when we do, I've been showing the mainly Tatarian
Right. I get you, mate.
But it's world. But the buildings, you can see all these buildings are worldwide. They're all similar. If you look at the universities over here as well as in Spain, you see they're all very similar architecture. The reason why I'm focusing on the Europe and now is because the Tatarian society and is linked to the world affairs. So that's why it's got that link to Europe, because they took their Tatarian information and put it in the world affairs. That's why I'm sharing it.
Got you, mate. I got you. Right. Sorry, mate. I was.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's not an issue. Just do whatever you're doing.
So I was just reading something about it, and I'm a bit ahead what you're doing. I was just reading bits and pieces on an article. It's okay, mate. Carry on.
Yeah, it's fine.
I confused myself there. It's all right.
No, you're fine. You're okay.
in modern European history, and it led to food riots, famine, epidemics, and death. What if the explanation involves a disruption in the fabric of space-time? What if it took the beings involved in the cataclysm and take over around 100 years to dig the original infrastructure out of the mud flow? What if the timeline we have been taught about in school actually starts in the mid-1800s with a new false historical narrative superimposed onto this infrastructure, one which brought cruelty, great suffering, degradation, and division to humanity? What if the original order of society was turned upside down and we have been the subjects of a vast human and social engineering project, not for our best interest, but that of other beings. What if these exhibitions, expositions, and world fairs, starting in 1851, were showcasing the technology and architectural wonders of the original civilization before being hidden away or forever destroyed? The purpose of the first great exhibition in 1851 was said to be making clear to the world Britain's role as industrial leader, while at the same time it provided a platform on which other countries from around the world could display their achievements. It was organized by Sir Henry Cole, a British civil servant and inventor, and Prince Albert, husband of Queen Victoria. We are told that it took only 9 months to develop it from plans and organization to the grand opening with Queen Victoria. It was also referred to as the Crystal Palace exhibition, in reference to what was called a temporary structure in which it was held. Let's take a closer look at this so-called temporary structure. Also known as the Great Shalimar, a reference to the Mughal Garden complex in Lahore, Pakistan, where you see the 8-pointed star and similar design patterns that I just showed you on the Great Exhibition brochure, in Wisconsin, and on Royalty. The Shalimar Gardens are located at the Lahore Fort. The Crystal Palace was said to have been designed by Sir Joseph Paxton, a gardener and greenhouse builder, and built in Hyde Park to house the exhibition. Sir Joseph was said to have been commissioned by Baron Mayer Rothschild in 1850 to design the Mentmore Towers in Buckinghamshire, said to be one of the greatest country houses built during the Victorian era. The Crystal Palace was described as a massive glass house that was 1,848 feet, or 563 meters long, by 454 feet, or 138 meters wide, and constructed from cast iron frame components and glass. There were statues on the inside and trees, said to demonstrate man's triumph over nature. Between May 1st and October 15th of 1851, 6 million people were said to visit the exhibition, including famous people of the time like Charles Darwin, Samuel Colt, Charlotte Bronte, Charles Dickens, and Alfred Lord Tennyson. The proceeds generated by the Great Exhibition of 1851 were then said to be used to found the Victoria and Albert Museum in 1852, which happens to look very similar to the Natural History Museum in Milan, Italy, which was said to have been founded in 1838. Proceeds from the Great Exhibition were also used to found the Science Museum in 1857 and the Natural History Museum in London in 1881. What was the fate of the Crystal Palace itself? Well, we are told the Crystal Palace was moved and re-erected in 1854 to Sydenham Hill in South London and was later destroyed by fire in 1936. How did they manage to move a massive building of plate glass and cast iron, said to be 3 times larger than St. Paul's Cathedral in London? Between 1853 and 1854, the exhibition of the Industry of All Nations was held in New York and Bryant Park in Manhattan, in the wake of what was considered the highly successful Great Exhibition in London. It aimed to showcase the new industrial achievements of the world and to demonstrate the nationalistic pride of a relatively young nation. The exhibition committee was led by Jacob Westervelt, New York City mayor, considered to be a renowned and prolific shipbuilder, and Admiral Samuel DuPont, a member of the prominent DuPont family, was the general superintendent. Another Crystal Palace was built here for the exhibition. We are told it was constructed in 1853 and designed by German architect Karl Gildemeister and Danish army officer George Carstensen, and said to have been inspired by the Crystal Palace in London. The American poet Walt Whitman penned this poem about it, called The Song of the Exposition. A palace, loftier, fairer, ampler than any yet, earth's modern wonder, history's 7 outstripping, high-rising, tier on tier, with glass and iron facades, gladdening the sun and sky, enhued in the cheerfulest hues, bronze, lilac, robin's egg, marine, and crimson, over whose golden roof shall flaunt, beneath thy banner, freedom. Alas, this beautiful crystal palace was also destroyed by fire, but much sooner than what we are told for the one in London. It burned down in 1858, apparently with a large audience, according to this engraving. It looks like the fire brigade is being blocked by all the people watching it burn. Paris hosted the Universal Exposition of the Industry of All the Nations on the Champs-Élysées from May 15th to November 15th in 1855, newly under the reign of Napoleon III.
Sorry, Darren, just
His
getting a
cousin,
drink
Prince
quick, all right?
Napoleon, was the president of the exposition. Paris attempted to surpass
Go.
London's Crystal Palace with its own Palais de l'Industrie, said to have been constructed for the industrial component of the exposition in 1855. This Palais de l'Industrie itself was said to have been destroyed in 1897 to make way for the Grand Palais of the 1900 World's Fair in Paris. There was also the Palais de Beaux-Arts to house the first fine arts display for a world exposition, pictured here. There was another building which displayed the crown jewels of France, and another that held machinery and raw materials. The only building said to still remain standing from the 1855 exposition is the Théâtre du Rond-Point, the location of the National Panorama. And unlike the British, who were said to have had such a surplus of funds that they could fund the opening of 3 museums, the French were said to have lost a great deal of money on the 1855 exposition. The location of the 1876 Centennial Exposition, the first official World's Fair in the United States, was Fairmount Park in Philadelphia. It was held to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The Director General of the exposition, Ohio businessman Alfred Goshern, was said to have been knighted by Queen Victoria because of the success of the Centennial Exposition. Hermann Schwarzmann, a German architect, was given the credit for designing all of the buildings for the Centennial Exposition starting in 1869. This is the Memorial Hall in Fairmount Park, said to have been built as the art gallery for the 1876 Centennial Expo.
Dale,
And the only major structure
call.
from that exposition
I just got to take a call, mate. All right. Sorry.
All right.
All right.
to survive to the present day. It is currently called the Please Touch Museum, which focuses on teaching mostly children 7 years old and younger through interactive exhibits and special events. This was inside the original horticultural hall, no longer standing, that was said to be designed for the 1876 exposition in the Moresque style of the 12th century, and looks a lot on the outside on the top like some Oklahoma high schools to me, like this historic photo of the original Central High School in Tulsa on the bottom. The largest Corliss steam engine ever built, with its 1,400 horsepower engine, was on display in and generated all the energy used in Machinery Hall during the 1876 exposition. The Corliss steam engine was said to have been invented by George Henry Corliss and patented in 1849. It is a steam engine fitted with rotary valves and variable valve timing, and generally 30% more fuel efficient than conventional steam engines. This is the front view of the steam engine at the exposition. The side view, and the top view. Now, for comparison, check out what is found at what is called an old sugar mill in Belize in Central America. From the looks of this tree growth, very old. The Southern Exposition was a 5-year series of world fairs held in Louisville, Kentucky between 1883 and 1887 in what is now called the Old Louisville neighborhood. The exposition was held for 100 days each of those years in a location immediately south of Louisville's Central Park, which was originally a country estate of the DuPont family, on what was called heavily forested hunting grounds. We are told the main exposition building was meant to be a temporary space. When 1 million visitors came to the expo in its first year in 1883, the Southern Exposition was expanded to run between August and November until 1887. This was the scene at the opening ceremonies where President Chester A. Arthur spoke in 1883. The Southern Exposition was the largest installation of incandescent light bulbs since their invention, we are told, by Thomas A. Edison between 1878 and 1880, allowing for nighttime visitation. In 1890, the Southern Exposition site was turned into the St. James and Belgravia courts, now a historic housing district. And an auditorium was said to have been built with the materials salvaged from the main exposition building. The auditorium was said to be part of a large entertainment complex that included a bike riding park, man-made lagoon, promenade, and a 10,000-seat outdoor amphitheater. The amphitheater auditorium was said to have been razed to the ground in 1905, only 16 years after its completion. The 1884 World's Fair was held in New Orleans and was called the World's Industrial and Cotton Centennial Exposition. The main building enclosed 33 acres, or 13 hectares, and was said to be the largest roofed structure constructed up to that time. This was the horticultural hall of the 1884 exposition and the octagonal building of the Mexico exhibit. The octagonal building of the Mexican exhibit is said to be the Moorish kiosk, which is found in Mexico City. The person who gets the credit for it was a Mexican engineer named Jose Ramon Ibarroa. He is said to have designed it to represent Mexico for the New Orleans Centennial Expo. We are also told that this structure was at the St. Louis, Missouri Fair in 1904 as well. Does this look like a portable structure to you? And there are design patterns of 8-pointed stars in the Moorish kiosk, and what I will call figure eights for this example. It is the same idea as what I shared with you earlier in this video. The location of the 1884 New Orleans Exposition is now Audubon Park. This is said to be a chunk of iron ore from the Alabama exhibit on the Audubon Golf Course at the park. And the Audubon Zoo. In 1888, Cincinnati, Ohio was the location of the Centennial Exposition of the Ohio Valley and Central States, also known as the World's Fair of Cincinnati, and the 100th anniversary of Cincinnati's founding. The Machinery Hall was situated across the Miami and Erie canals and was said to have been transformed into a Venetian delight with imported gondolas and gondoliers from Venice and daily races and rides. What if the gondolas and gondoliers weren't actually imported from Venice, but instead were already here? This is outside of the Machinery Hall on the left and has the look of a staged photo, very much like this one in Trenton, New Jersey, on the right. The Music Hall was said to have been built in 1877 at the cost of $1 million for use in some previous industrial expositions in Cincinnati, as well as for being a choral facility. This was a bridge associated with the Music Hall. Where is everybody? The main building was in Washington Park. Washington Park Hall boasted of one of the largest fountains constructed in the country, 89 feet or 27 meters long and 68 feet or 21 meters wide, with a jet that rose 65 feet or 20 meters in the air. Nicknamed the Fairy Fountain, when the gallery played Strauss waltzes, the fountain illuminated in time with the music. There are many more examples along the same lines to which I will give you just a simple introduction. The Colonial and Indian Exhibition in London in 1886, the Piedmont Exposition in Atlanta in 1887, the Melbourne Centennial Exhibition in 1888, the Universal Exposition in Paris in 1889, the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893, the California Midwinter Exposition of 1894 in San Francisco, the Central American Exposition in Guatemala City, Guatemala in 1897, the International Exposition in Hobart, Tasmania in 1894 and 1895, the Cotton States and International Exposition in Atlanta in 1895, the Tennessee Centennial and International Exposition in Nashville in 1897, the Trans-Mississippi and International Exposition in Omaha, Nebraska in 1898, the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York in 1901, the Glasgow International Exposition in 1901, the South Carolina Interstate and West Indian Exposition in Charleston in 1901 and 1902, the Wolverhampton Exhibition in 1902 in Wolverhampton, England, the Hanoi Exhibition in Vietnam in 1902 and 1903, the Louisiana Purchase Exhibition in St. Louis, Missouri in 1904, the Lewis and Clark Exhibition in Portland, Oregon in 1905, the Jamestown Exposition in Norfolk, Virginia in 1907, the Alaska Yukon Pacific Exposition in Seattle in 1909, the Panama Pacific International Exposition in San Francisco in 1915, the Panama California Exposition in San Diego in 1915 and 1916, the Sesquicentennial International Exposition in Philadelphia in 1926, the Chicago World's Fair in 1933 and 1934, the California Pacific International Exposition in San Diego in 1935 and 1936, the Great Lakes Exposition in Cleveland in 1936 and 1937, the Texas Centennial International Exposition in Dallas in 1936 and 1937, the Golden Gate International Exposition in San Francisco in 1939 and 1940, and the New York World's Fair in 1939 and 1940. There were other world fairs and expositions held around the world after this, but I want to focus on the earlier ones for the purposes of this video and the point I want to make. Does any of this sound feasible or even plausible? I think it makes much more sense to view it from the perspective that humanity was on a much more advanced timeline than we have been taught. Most of the beautiful legacy of the human race has been destroyed, and we have been kept in the dark about it. What wasn't destroyed were turned into government buildings like the Baltimore City Hall, schools like El Paso High School, and museums like the Museum of Art in Central Park, and the list of repurposed buildings goes on and on. We don't question how this monumental architecture could have possibly come into existence in the historical narrative we have been given. In the next video, I will be focusing on monuments and memorials.
Right.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
So that's the first part. So I'll let you make any comments on that before I do anything else.
Okay.
Go on, I'm listening.
Right. Leo said, yes, freedom is an illusion and democracy. Who else? Any questions, guys? They said a whole abandoned towns in the government took the base in the water, including the farm, land and buildings that were passed down through generations. Is that correct?
I think with most governments have taken a lot of things in that people didn't know about. I think a lot of things we've not been taught. I think there's a lot of things we need to learn more about what was happening. I think there's a lot of things that we've not been told about. To be honest with you,
Lou said we're just learning still.
there is. I do have. No, I'd agree. I'd agree. There's a lot of things that we've not been
Maybe
taught.
we
we've
can
not been
do
taught
a
about.
Q&A
You
on
know what
it.
I mean? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I don't think that we should know more about. That I think that they've definitely didn't want us to know about. You know.
Actually, there was something skits I saw put in there a while back. Hang on. Where is it? Oh, it's deleted. But maybe we should do a Q&A on it another day, actually.
Right. So, there's one more thing I will play.
Yeah.
Because we talked about. So I talked about the world. The talk was that I did was obviously was the title was the mud flood and the historical reset timeline. So the world affairs are part of the historic timeline.
Yeah.
And that's why I was talking about the expositions. So
Have we actually had a mud flood in Britain?
it was worldwide. The mud flood was worldwide. That's why we've got all the buildings still here. If you go to the buildings in most of your town centres, you can see that they're not being completely dug out. That's why I was sharing some of that imagery in Paris. That's why I was talking about the imagery, because most of your buildings are not being are still like, particularly the old ones. Particularly the old ones.
Strange how it was in London. It happened in London, wouldn't it?
It's across the country. It was going to across the globe, the event. That's what I'm going to talk about now. We're going to talk about that event.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to put on now. Was the timeline we've got knocked off. So there's two things I'll play, and then but I'll play the first one.
Oh, Skip said we've got the whole city under our feet. Don't know what you think about that.
Skits is funny. Right, I'm gonna play two more videos, and see what you think of this, because this is linked to this resetted timeline. Yeah, and then this might clear a little bit more up. This is some more of Michelle Gibson stuff. I'll put this on in a second. You'll find this interesting. It's to do with the reset timeline. So let me find this now.
Come on, guys! I'm trying to be serious here. You wanted a serious, educational stream, guys, and you're coming out with funny comments.
Well, let them get on with it. It is what it is, and everyone's going to tout to their own opinion. So It is what it is. And that's how you've got to look at it. You're always going to have people who are skeptical, and they've got every right to be skeptical.
Yeah.
You get me? It is what it is. All right, let's keep going.
Up until relatively recently, and that the very positive timeline of humanity is missing from the collective memory. My name is Michelle Gibson. I can't definitively prove what I'm going to say, and that you can't go to a book and look it up. However, awareness of this information has come up for me synchronistically and intuitively, and I can definitely give you the evidence for why I believe this to be true. All of my life I have been collecting puzzle pieces related to this subject, and the universe made sure that I had everything I needed to be able to put this puzzle together. This is the star tetrahedron I found in 2010 by connecting cities that lined up in North America that led me to uncovering much of the information I am sharing with you in this video. Drawn below Melchizedek's video, Birth of a New Humanity, in 2010, gave me my first clue that a planetary grid even existed. In the video, he introduces the work of Carl Monk. Carl deciphered a shared mathematical code related to the pyramids of Giza and the dimensions of the architecture of sacred sites all over the planet one which encodes longitude and latitude of each that cross-reference other sites. He shows that this pyramid code is clearly sophisticated and intentional, and perfectly aligned over long distances. At the time, this got my interest, and I thought, wow, that sounds great, but who could have built it? Drunvalo didn't really answer that question in the video, but he planted a seed in my consciousness. So, from what I have come to understand, from these sources and others, this positive timeline started after the fall of Atlantis, at which time the physical infrastructure of the planetary grid started to be built according to sacred geometry and along the lines of the flower of life pattern. And I think this ancient civilization lasted until 1942 on what would have been a different timeline or something comparable to that year in this timeline. In this video, I will explain exactly why I believe this. During the ensuing millennia after the fall of Atlantis, this advanced ancient civilization, which I believe was in unity consciousness, terraformed the earth, used geomancy to groom the ley lines and create balance and harmony between heaven and earth, and built all of the infrastructure of the planet, including, besides buildings, rivers, lakes, waterfalls, and canals. The ancient civilization created infrastructure that would be considered ancient. This is Bell Rock in Sedona, Arizona. People think of red rocks all over the world as natural, but I see this as ancient infrastructure. These could be extremely ancient, predating the fall of Atlantis, and go back to Lemuria, also known as Mu. But there would be a direct connection between these two civilizations. The Washita Moors, also known as the Ancient Ones, still exist to this day, and have been recognized by the UN as the oldest indigenous civilization on Earth. But for some reason, the general public has never heard of them. Washita proper, the ancient imperial seat, is in northern Louisiana, in and around Monroe. The ancient civilization created infrastructure that would be considered medieval. The cloisters of Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy, France, come up as an example of medieval architecture, and this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is compared with a colonnade with similar features at the Alhambra in Granada, Spain, architecture that the Moors are given credit for. They created infrastructure that would be considered Renaissance. This is the Duomo in Florence compared with the Seville Cathedral in Spain, with the ornate facade design features and the double windows and the extensive use of arches. Seville was the capital of Moorish Spain. And they created infrastructure that would be considered modern and is still in use. This is a view from Central Park in New York City, with the lovely stone bridge in the foreground, and the building with the twin towers and onion domes in the background. Manhattan Henge is quite interesting and noteworthy. This is an annual event during which the setting sun or rising sun is aligned with the east-west street grid of Manhattan on dates evenly spaced around the summer solstice and winter solstice. There are similar alignments with the sun and street plan that occur in other major cities like Toronto, Baltimore, Chicago, and Montreal. So how did that happen? We certainly don't learn about that level of precise astronomical city planning in North America in our history classes. I have come to the conclusion that beings with a negative agenda for humanity knocked humanity off the positive Moorish timeline in order to control humanity, using humans in wars against each other, the Creator, and creation. I think there is more than one group of negative beings involved in this. Fallen angels, archons, and reptilians, and probably others are involved in what has taken place. I see Paradise Lost, the epic poem by John Milton, as historical non-fiction. This poem was published in 1667. As related in the poem, newly banished fallen angels organize, and Satan volunteers to corrupt the newly created earth and God's new and most favored creation, mankind. He goes to the Garden of Eden and basically convinces Eve, by duplicity, to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and making it their fault they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Whether you know it or not, this is completely relevant to what is playing out in the world today. So how did the negative beings hijack the timeline? I think they did it by manipulating the great dragon lines of the plumed serpent and the rainbow serpent of the planetary grid and creating a 3D time loop that somehow mirrors or involves the figure 8 on its side of the great dragon lines, which cross each other in two places, Bali in Indonesia and Lake Titicaca in South America, which is located in Peru and Bolivia. I think this 3D time loop called Rome somehow got pinned onto the two great dragon lines between the years 1492, the year of the fall of Granada in Spain, and the year of Columbus's first voyage, and 1942, midway through World War II, and the year of the Philadelphia experiment. Also, the year of 1942 is a numeric anagram to 1492. More on this later in the video. The new timeline was somehow inserted, and everything was grafted onto the existing infrastructure on the planet and falsely attributed in the new historical narrative. The world history we have been taught is filled with war and violence, death and destruction, which was not our original evolutionary path. For another thing, I do not believe that the Catholic Church existed before 1492. This is a star map of the Vatican and Rome, courtesy of Wayne Herschel's work, and how it mirrors the heavens. There is that precise astronomical city planning again. It is important to note that the Moors were master astronomers and builders. There are 450 years in between 1492 and 1942, and halfway, at 225 years, is 1717. I'm going to show you a timeline I've been able to put together through internet research centering around these 3 years, and show you some noteworthy anomalies and occurrences that I was able to find. First, I'm going to point out some things leading up to the 1492 to 1942 time period. I remember first learning about black figure Greek pottery in the 6th grade, 1974 for me, when we studied ancient Greece, where we were taught that the white Greeks had a style called black figure in their pottery art, said to be reminiscent of silhouettes. So here's what this style looks like. Could this possibly mean something quite different from an artistic style? Like the ancient Greeks were actually black and not white, as we have been taught? How about an acknowledged black Roman emperor? In our current historical narrative, Septimus Severus was born in Libya in 145 AD. He ended up in government service in Rome and really rose through the ranks, becoming emperor from 193 to 211 AD. The defacing of ancient statues and monuments is quite common, with many examples of missing noses, heads, and badly damaged bodies of statues, like these statues of Petra in Jordan. There are statues of people in the alcoves, but they have been rendered unrecognizable. The Sphinx in Egypt is another well-known example of this practice. Legend has it that the troops of Napoleon used it for target practice in 1798. Whatever the reason, this Sphinx's nose is missing. Why? A papal bull is an official papal letter or document, named after the leaden seal used to authenticate it. They figure prominently in the historical narrative we've been given. In 1302, the Unum Sanctum papal bull was issued by Pope Boniface VIII. At the end of it, he writes, "Furthermore, we declare, we proclaim, we define that it is absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature be subject to the Roman Pontiff." On December 22nd, 1216, the Dominican order was founded by Pope Honorius III via his papal bull called the Religiosum Vitam, and gave universal recognition to the order. This occurred during the Albigensian or Cathar Crusade in southern France, and the Cathars were called a heretical sect. The Dominicans were founded to preach the gospel and to oppose heresy. The peaceful Gnostic Cathars were brutally massacred in the Albigensian Crusade that lasted from 1209 to 1229. The Spanish Inquisition was established by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella in 1478 to maintain Catholic orthodoxy. Called the Tribunal of the Holy Office of the Inquisition, it is particularly known in history for its brutality and torture. Now we are arriving at the beginning of the 1492 to 1942 time period. The city of Granada fell on January 2nd, 1492, effectively ending Moorish rule in Spain when Muhammad XII surrendered the Emirate of Granada to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Shortly thereafter, via the Alhambra Decree, issued on March 31st, 1492, Spanish Jews were given the choice of converting to Catholicism or leaving the kingdoms of Castile and Aragon. This decree may have originally applied to the Moors as well. It is out there in the field of information that the next day, April 1st, became known as April Fool's Day because while the Moors were told they had the same option, their ships and homes were burned and many were killed. While this may or may not be true, it would not surprise me if it was, and I have read from different sources that this was the case. Columbus left Spain on his first voyage on August 3, 1492, ostensibly to find a westward route to Asia. There's a lot of hidden history that I have encountered around this subject. For the purposes of this video, I just want to point out the date. Then on May 4th, 1493, the Inter Cetera papal bull was issued by Pope Alexander VI. This bull became a major document in the development of subsequent legal doctrines regarding claims of empire in the quote-unquote New World. The bull assigned to Castile the exclusive right to acquire territory, to trade in or even approach the lands lying west of the meridian situated 100 leagues west of the Azores and Cape Verde Islands, except for any lands actually possessed by any other Christian prince beyond this meridian prior to Christmas 1492. In 1540, Pope Paul III issued a papal bull forming the Jesuit order under the leadership of Ignatius Loyola, a Basque nobleman from the Pyrenees in northern Spain. The Jesuit order included a special vow of obedience to the Pope in matters of mission direction and assignment. In October of 1582, the Gregorian calendar was introduced by Pope Gregory XIII for the given reason of correcting the Julian calendar on stopping the drift of the calendar with respect to the equinoxes, and included the addition of leap years. It took 300 years to implement the calendar in the West, and nowadays it's used in non-Western countries for civil purposes. Could there be another reason why this calendar was imposed, like perhaps to manipulate our perception of time? Indigenous calendrical systems like the Mayan calendar were involved with the harmonization and synchronization of human beings with natural cycles of time. The short count is based on 13 tones and 20 day signs, totaling 260 days. The long count is based on a 5,125-year cycle, measuring much larger cycles of time. During the 1582 to 1589 time period in England, John Dee and Edward Kelly were involved in scrying activities that ended up bringing fallen angels and other negative beings into this dimensional plane. John Dee was considered the most learned man of his time in England and had an extensive library. He also had in his possession a collection of mirrors and other scrying devices. He was an advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. Edward Kelly was an occultist and spirit medium. Again, my main focus is on dates here, but there is much more to this subject in terms of an occultist element associated with dark arts that came directly into England at that time that is very problematic to this day. In 1588, the Spanish Armada was mostly defeated by severe weather when it was on its way to invade England. On December 31st, 1600, the British East India Company was chartered. It was formed to trade with the East Indies, primarily Indonesia and the Philippines. but ended up trading mostly with China, and it seized control of large parts of India. This is the flag of the British East India Company. On March 20th, 1602, the Dutch East India Company was chartered to trade with India and Southeast Asian countries when the Dutch government granted it a 21-year monopoly for the Dutch spice trade. It was an early multinational corporation that existed from 1602 to 1799. In August of 1642, the first voyage of Abel Tasman took place, starting out from Batavia, the capital of the Dutch East Indies, which corresponds to present-day Jakarta, for the purpose of exploring Mauritius, Tasmania, and New Zealand for the Dutch East India Company. Then on January 30th, 1644, Abel Tasman started out on his second voyage for the Dutch East India Company to find a passage to the eastern side of New Holland, which is Australia. He missed the Torres Strait and mapped the north coast of Australia. The years of 1665 and 1666 were when the Great Plague of London took place. This was the last major epidemic of bubonic plague to take place in England. It is said to have killed 100,000 people in 18 months. Between September 2nd and September 6th of the year 1666, the Great Fire of London took place. It swept through the central parts of London and gutted the medieval city of London. The homes of 70,000 inhabitants, out of 80,000 inhabitants that lived there, were destroyed. Quite interestingly, it did not reach the aristocratic district of Westminster and Whitehall. In 1667, as I mentioned previously, John Milton's epic poem, Paradise Lost, was first published. By universal law, all beings are required to inform beings of what they are doing to establish consent for what is taking place. I think that this is what the negative beings were doing with what was available for communication at that time, even though that is not how it was or is advertised. To this day, their intentions are falsely advertised in whatever media they use. It is not informed consent if people don't know that they are being informed. Their techniques are inherently deceptive. On May 2nd, 1670, the Hudson Bay Company was granted a permanent charter by King Charles II of England. It conferred two things on a group of French explorers. One, a trading monopoly with London merchants over the lucrative North American fur trade, and two, gave them effective control over the vast region surrounding the Hudson Bay in Canada. Still in operation today as a Canadian retail business group operating department stores in several countries, it is the oldest corporation in the world. From 1712 to 1784, the ascended master Saint Germain is widely believed to have been on earth as the Count of Saint Germain. He achieved prominence in European high society of the mid-1700s for his amazing alchemical abilities and apparent non-aging during those 72 years. Why was he on earth during this time period? I think he could have been on the earth plane because of the timeline hijack that had taken place. But I have more anomalous historical occurrences to share in support of this belief as we go along. The year 1717 is the center point between 1492 and 1942. This is what I found happening between 1714 and 1742. In 1714, King George I of the German House of Hanover becomes King of Great Britain and Ireland. This marked the end of the rule of the House of Stuart, which originated in Scotland. This is King James I of England / King James VI of Scotland, the King James Version of the Bible, King James. On January 4th, 1717, Great Britain, France, and the Dutch Republic signed the Triple Alliance in an attempt to maintain the Treaty of Utrecht, which was signed in April of 1713, in which, in order to become King of Spain, Philip had to renounce his concurrent claim to the French throne. This prevented the thrones of Spain and France from merging together and ultimately paved the way for the maritime, commercial, and financial supremacy of Great Britain. In February of 1717, James Francis Edward Stuart of the House of Stuart, called the Pretender, who at one time was claimant to the throne, left where he was living in France after the Triple Alliance was signed in January to seek exile with Pope Clement XI in Rome. Why he went specifically there, I don't know, but he died in Rome in 1766. While most portraits online are of a white person, this is believed to be a portrait of James Francis Edward Stuart that was painted when he lived in France. On June 24, 1717, the Premier Grand Lodge of England, the first Freemason Grand Lodge, was founded in London. I understand the truth about Masonry and the Moors, so I find it highly significant that this event shows up at the exact midpoint year between 1492 and 1942. And then on July 17, 1717, or 7/17/1717, an interesting date from a numerological perspective, the premiere of Georg Friedrich Handel's water music took place for King George I on a barge on the Thames. Eyes are now on Handel. In 1727, Georg Friedrich Handel, the German, becomes George Frederick Handel, a British citizen. Then I was guided through a psychic friend to look at Ireland in 1742, so I searched for it on the internet and only two things came up. The first was that Dublin, Ireland was the location for the premiere of George Frederick Handel's Messiah on April 13, 1742. The second is that between 1740 and 1741, there was an extraordinary weather event in Ireland involving extreme cold. There's a book about it entitled Arctic Ireland. During this time in Ireland, there was an almost 2-year period of extremely cold, enduring weather. The cause is not known, and this information is in the historical record, but kept pretty much out of sight. Hundreds of thousands of people died in the cold snap, about 1/5 of the population at the time. To this day, it is one of the longest periods of extreme cold in modern European history, and it led to food riots, famine, epidemics, and death. And then Handel's Messiah premieres in Dublin the following spring like nothing had just happened. What if the explanation involves a disruption in the fabric of space-time? What if the brand new Rome timeline was pinned over Ireland? If you look on a globe, Ireland is definitely in a curved alignment with Bali and Lake Titicaca, the two crossing points of the great Earth Dragons. The Irish population endured 21 months of bizarre weather without known precedent that defied conventional explanation. The cause is not known. What might this event allow to happen? So far during this time period around 1717, we find the new British monarch coming from Germany, the Stuart heir exiled in Rome, and Handel shows up on the scene from Germany, premiering on a numerological date and after an extremely severe anomalous weather event in Ireland. So who else shows up during this time period? Well, for one, in 1744, Mayer Rothschild was born in Frankfurt, Germany. He established his banking business there in the 1760s, which became the start of an international banking family. Then on February 6, 1748, Adam Weishaupt was born in Ingolstadt, Bavaria, Germany. He went to a Jesuit school at the age of 7. He founded the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati on May 1, 1776, and was initiated into Freemasonry in 1777. So fast forward to the time period of November 20th to November 30th of 1910, a meeting took place at Jekyll Island off the coast of the state of Georgia to lay the foundations for the Federal Reserve. On April 15th, 1912, the Titanic sank. Another space-time event occurred as all the bankers opposed to the creation of the Federal Reserve were on board, including John Jacob Astor IV, one of the richest people in the world at the time. Then on December 23, 1913, the Federal Reserve Act passed Congress, signed into law by Woodrow Wilson. It created and established the Federal Reserve System and created the authority to issue Federal Reserve notes, commonly known as the U.S. dollar, as legal tender. World War I started on July 28, 1914, and ended on November 11, 1918. It was one of the largest wars in history, with 70 million military personnel mobilized, and of that number, 60 million were Europeans. An estimated 9 million combatants died as a direct result of the war, and 7 million civilians, and many more died as an indirect consequence of this war. Now here's that 17 showing up again. On July 17, 1917, or 7/17/1917, the reigning royal house of the United Kingdom and its Commonwealth, the House of Windsor, is founded after the death of Queen Victoria. It is also of German paternal descent. World War II started on September 1, 1939, and ended on September 2 in 1945, exactly 6 years later. It is considered the deadliest conflict in human history. Almost halfway through World War II, on July 22, 1942, the strange Philadelphia experiment took place at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. These next slides give an overview of the experiment. Did the USS Eldridge just become invisible, or did it go somewhere else? And if it went somewhere else, where might it have gone? The timeline and examples I have given provide a framework. There is still much to be accounted for because of all the fabrication and whitewashing that has taken place. So exactly what they did and when they did it to accomplish all of the whitewash and historical rewrite, I really don't know. However, there are patterns going on in what I have said here that if you can see and understand them, you will understand and recognize more about what has actually been taking place on Earth without our knowledge and consent. I bring this information to light for awareness, healing, and transmutation for the highest good and the greatest need of all. Victory of the light, and so it is. It is done.
All right, so I've stopped there. Okay, easy. So come on then, go with me. What are
Right.
you thinking?
Oh, do you know what, mate? It's really, oh God, it's quite mind blowing to be fair,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's real weird how they do go into a bit of the Rothschild thing, in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, with the banking system and all, with the Fed
Yeah.
Reserve. Yeah, I mean the banking structures. I mean that we can do a whole talk on that. It's a completely separate issue. Why the Federal Reserve was created, but that gets into what happened just after the Second World War under the Bretton Woods Agreement, which is the current system running
Yeah,
at the
because
moment.
the banking, just after the war, there was no banking system, though, was there really?
No, there wasn't. It got created. The new system we got structured now was created under what's called the Bretton Woods Agreement in New Hampshire, and that's the system we've currently got. Although I think that's going out due to the World Economic Forum, and there's going to be another reset. So the thing that I want to get into is the fact that they keep talking about these resets, and this is why I agree with Michelle. There's been big resets and there's been little resets, and we're due to have another reset, which is under the World Economic Forum stuff, which I know you're familiar with. But there's meant to be a global currency reset coming. And this is what keeps happening with society. Society keeps being reset and reset and reset, and it's for these negative reasons that it's been reset, which I agree with Michelle on. that there's people that want to reset it for negative reasons. So that's what you're seeing anyway in general throughout society, with the World Economic Forum at the head at the moment, with BlackRock and stuff. So yeah, it's quite
So,
intriguing.
do you think that was the start of the new world order now?
Well, she did mention about Adam Weishaupt. Did you hear that? She talks about the Bavarian Illuminati. She did mention about the Jesuits as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just saying, like, it just seems everything seems to stand up to now, doesn't it?
Yep.
Like,
And even it's
it's
time point.
it's like it's like a great big plan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you've got. That's what I'm getting the hang of. That this whole reset thing is part of a bigger agenda. I'd agree with you on that.
Yeah. So really, it was all mapped out for us, really, then, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. Nothing happens by chance. Everything happens with purpose. That's exactly correct.
What was I going to say? I was going to read it. What I was going to say, Ian, so do you think with all these fires are happening, you have all these floods happening across the world, do you think that's all done on purpose still? Do you think someone started all of this? And
Yeah, stuff in Hawaii you mentioned earlier. We spoke about it, and yeah. I do think that's. I don't think every wildfire is, but I think the stuff in Hawaii at the moment definitely is. There's definitely a purpose behind that. There's not.
Because it's really strange, isn't it? Because all the years they haven't had any of that, have they? What
No,
fires
it's been fine. I mean, occasionally you will have a volcano go off, but they've got the early warning system in place, and that didn't go, as I mentioned earlier. It didn't happen. So I do think there's some skullduggery going on. I do agree with you. There's some skullduggery going on.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's always been fires. Many started deliberately, like I said, 50 to 100 year planning. Skits, I said. Yeah, because
I'd agree with Skits. They plan
Yeah.
on a short term, medium, and long term basis. I definitely agree with Skits. They're definitely right.
But Dale, who is planning this? So who?
Well,
is-
she mentioned it. If you're listening, I call the Menes Hair Banks the cult, what she referred to them as the Jesuits.
Okay.
She talked about it in that thing. She mentioned about the Bavarian Illuminati.
Yeah,
She
but
talked
what
about the
does it
Jesuits.
make you? Well, what does it benefit them then?
They want control of humanity, like she said, for beings on and off world. She mentioned it in that whole thing.
Because
It's on and off, that's what she talks about, the positive, negative.
yeah,
We're being hijacked on a negative timeline. The beings don't want the humanity to be on a positive timeline. They want us to be fighting each other and killing each other, because that's how they keep control of us, divide and rule. That's the modus operandi.
Teresa said Gene Roddenberry actual made a Star Trek from what he had seen working for the American Secret Services.
Say that again, sorry, Easy. I lost the last bit.
Teresa said Gene. Oh God, it's gone up. Hang on.
Oh, Star Trek. Gene
Yeah.
Roddenberry. I think with Gene Roddenberry, this is the same thing with a lot of these people, like with George Lucas, like with J.J.R. Tolkien. I think they've had access to the Vatican's libraries at the catacombs, and they've seen some of the societies that the Vatican know about that they're not teaching the masses about, and that's what you see. So yeah, Gene Roddenberry's probably had access to the Vatican libraries. This is same with J.J.R. Tolkien, same with George Lucas. I think they've had access to information that's not privy to most people in society, and what they're retelling is some of the aspects. Star Wars, I think, is talking about the Nibiru and the ancient Death Star. That's talking about negative beings coming here in the ancient fights. It's same with Avatar. Same with the other one I mentioned, J.J.R. Tolkien. He knew about it. That he's talking about events on Earth, because he talks about the the Fellowship of the Ring. It talks about the Two Towers, which is about September 11th, and then Return of the King, which is the Age of Revelation, Return of the King or Jesus. So he knew about the inner earth and the beings in the inner earth. That's what that's talking about. So it's talking about some of the ancient history and the times that we're in now as well, which is why the films are named in that particular order, because I think they knew what was the events that was going to happen during that period of time. So I think J.J.R. Tolkien knew about that. I think George Lucas knew some ancient stuff. I also think James Cameron is familiar with some of that as well. So yeah, that's what I think. I think some of the directors, the famous directors, they know they've had access to the Vatican's libraries, and they're talking about some of that ancient history that she was on about. They're talking about it.
So do you think like places like South Korea, Japan, and like Russia knew all of this years and years ago?
Say that again, Isa. Sometimes
do you think like places like South Korea, North Korea, and all that knew all of this all beforehand?
I think all the places at some point knew everything. I think they everywhere knew everything. I just think we haven't got we just don't know it now. I think due to what happened is with the world affairs, I don't think we've got the information now. I think all society knew, and I think we've had some sort of an event where it's meant that we've lost that whatever's happened, it's made us lose that memory. So we're kind of all in the same. I think society was worldwide. It was global. That's what I was mentioned earlier. I think it was a global society. I think they knew everything. There was more in harmony with each other. So I think that we've not been told the truth. I think there's been an incident, and as a result of that, we are only finding out this stuff now. But I do think that we've there's
What
been
do you
tampering.
think we've not been told the truth on, Dale? Because there's so many aspects in that.
Oh, there's not multiple things. I think the way the body works, health works, mental health, spirituality, metaphysics. I think there's a lot of things that that we're not taught about, and aspects. I think there's some things we can allude to, but it's given to us in signs and symbols, and those who are in the know what that means. But man, I'm talking about that high level Freemasonry. So I think there's people that are in the know, the top end of society, but I think the masses have not taught. I think the masses, yeah, they don't know everything. So, but yeah,
It's quite interesting. So, as we keep people saying, do you know, someone turned around and said to me, they said, "You're crackers about the world new order. You don't know what you're talking about." And I thought, you're joking. So I thought to myself, are you joking? Are you seeing what they're doing now? That, you know, they're not actually, you know, people are not realizing New World Order's in now, isn't it? So
yeah.
like I said, with you know what, the sea, that was to control us, wasn't it? And that was all part of the New World New Order.
Yeah, I think the reset that they're trying to put in place now, the global currency reset, I think that's part of that as well.
Yeah. You know, and I think we didn't really see it till we got drawn into this lockdown thing.
I think a lot of people, yeah. I think I have to say there's been an upsurge in the consciousness of humanity since the lockdown. There has been a lot more people questioning things. I'd agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you on that. There's a lot more people asking a lot more questions, definitely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cracks. There's a lot of cracks coming in, isn't it? I mean, I know it sounds stupid and it's off topic. Look at what Khan's doing. Yeah, you know, he's like sort of like dictating to people in London, isn't he? Like how far you can drive, how you can, you know. It's just little things like that, isn't it? Oh, you know, you can buy cigarettes for like £15 a time, but you're not allowed to. They're telling you where you can smoke them. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know, it's like saying to someone, "All right, yeah, we keep selling the poison, but you've got to fuck off over there." Yeah, but you've got to pay the money for the privilege of it, like big money, big bucks for it.
Yeah, just like I said with you, I think there's a lot of things going on, and a lot more people are questioning it now. Probably more now than previously. I do think there's going to be a lot of things that we will see, and those things that we'll see, more people will
Do you know what I will
question it.
say, Del? I will say there's only one thing could turn against us in life now, and I can see it happening. It's nature. Nature will turn against us.
I mean,
Because-
you can argue to some degree that already is happening. To some degree, you probably, there's things that you've seen, and it kind of is. The Earth's fighting back. I think Earth's as sentient as we are. I don't see the Earth as not a sentient. I see the Earth as just as sentient as we are, and so she's doing what she has to do, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of dealing what she has to deal with. I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not unhopeful because I'm not scared of the future, but I do feel that this.
I think it'll take
We've got a script.
another
We've got a
40
script.
years, Del, for us. I reckon it'll take another 40 years for us to be okay. Do you know what I mean? It's going to take a hell of a long time. Because whoever's doing what, it's going to take a hell of a lot of undoing, isn't it? And maybe
Yeah.
we will not ever recover. We're not.
I don't know. I'm not unhopeful because I don't have hope. It's just I just know. I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But when it does get better, it'll get better much quicker because people will be prepared to put the differences aside. The only way it's going to work is if humanity comes together as a species. I think divide and rule. The one thing that those at the top rely on is divide and rule. That's a commonality I've seen even with the stuff that Michelle Gibson's just doing on about. There's one thing I see with the commonality is divide and rule. And so long as they can divide us, then humanity will always fall.
I
We're gonna have to
think
come together. I do see that unity consciousness. You're gonna have to come together. You can't have all this division. You know what I mean?
in England they are too afraid of people in this country. Because it doesn't matter if the British do what they do, they always seem to come down harder on the British, don't they? So, like, you see France, they do what they do, and they're not afraid, are they? They're just not afraid. Venezuela, places like that. But when it comes to Britain, we seem to be afraid because we always feel like they're going to hit us down as a ton of bricks. Twice as much in it any other country would do. You know what I mean?
Well, I think people are going to lose the patience because when they've got nothing left to lose, they'll lose it. Just as Joe Salenti said, you know what I mean? They will lose it eventually because.
And I think it'll be the next generation, like the young generation.
Well, the young can't get on the property ladder. Not enough people are having children. It's chaos. You've got people coming in all over the place. Everybody's arguing all over the place. It's quite bad now, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? And but it's going to get to a point where people have had enough, and it's going to take everybody to be driven to the end of the tether. I think they want that. I think they want chaos. I've always said that. I think they want chaos. And for chaos, they want to bring order. It's called the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution.
If they're going to cause
That's what they're doing.
chaos, Adele, right? If they're going to cause chaos like they're doing, how's it benefiting anything?
Because it's allowing them to divide and rule. That's what I mean by chaos. It's allowing them to divide and rule. That's why when you come together, you separate. You don't see yourself away from the nonsense that they're spouting. That's why unity is only going to work because it gets rid of all the nonsense. We all know what the problems are. We know it's them that's causing the problems. So once people realize that, then you get rid of the problem. The problem is most people are arguing with each other when we need to stop arguing with each other. We need to look at solutions of working together. It's the only way you're going to get anything ever achieved. You're not going to get it arguing with each other. I know that much. You'll never achieve anything arguing with each other. You're always going to have difference of opinion, fair enough, but so you learn to put that aside.
Yeah. I think that agenda's been in place since, I don't know, the 70s. So, like, you would say, like, groups like Combat 18 was put in by the government, you know what I mean? And
go on.
They were actually put in by the government, Combat 18 were. So the divide started way 70s. You know what I mean? National Front put in by the government as well, government funded. No one doesn't know that, and that was the start of conquer and divide.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat now. Check out the mega prisons. It's a holding cell for the masses. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with Fort Candles. What is Fort Candles has said? I wouldn't disagree with that. If the Hawaiian thing happened recently, Big FEMA was involved in that.
Yeah,
FEMA was involved in that. Yeah. So all the institutions have got these mega prisons, and they've got all these big agencies involved to stop the masses from rebelling. But it will take the masses rebelling in unity to get anything done, because the governments have no intention of helping the masses out. But they want the masses at each other's throats. That's the whole point.
I
So
mean,
I'd agree with what Candles said.
if you look way back, right, like the war, right, we were fighting for the war, right? So we were fighting in Germany to stop Germany to take over the world and control the world, right?
That's what they've told you, but that's not true. All the wars were fought for bankers. All the wars were fought by international bankers, but backed both sides. And then when the both sides fell, they all benefited from it. So all the international bankers have been benefiting from the war. The world wars are a way to get the masses to just be distracted and arguing over nonsense when the bankers are in the background winning.
Yeah, but there wasn't really no banking system, though, was there?
No, there was. There still was. Of course there was. There's always been a banking system. It's just that it's in a different guise. There's always been a banking system. That's why she talks about the Federal Reserve in 1913. It's just that it's in a different guise after what happened in Bretton Woods in 1945 or 6.
So
The banking system got changed.
So you say the World Wars were really started by the bankers?
Yes, that's what she showed on that vote with all the bankers with the Federal Reserve. That's what she was explaining, and it's happened multiple times when you've got people who object to central banking and they get killed off. That's what happened to JFK. He got murdered because he objected to the Federal Reserve. The Vatican took him out. That's what keeps happening, and he was Catholic. And anytime you get into the way of the banking structure that they've set up, they get taken out. This is what Skits was just saying. Skits said it's all about money. I won't disagree with what Skits said. I won't disagree with what Therese said either. It's a business. It's all about money. I wouldn't agree.
Well, I didn't realise the prison system is a business as well, wasn't it?
They're all commercial centres.
I didn't know that.
Everything's commercial. So every aspect of life has been commercialised.
I generally didn't know that the prison was a business thing. I really didn't. But apparently it's worth millions. Apparently, you know. Sentence. So every time they fill one up, they get paid a hell of a lot of money for it.
Yep, that's the whole point. The whole point is everything's based on I call it the Piscean construct. Although the Piscean construct is being changed, and that's why I keep mentioning about the World Economic Forum and the Global Currency Reset, because they're having to change the structure of the banking system because there's advent of Aquarius that's going ether based, so they're changing the system. So we are going to see a bigger shift, and that's what they're getting ready for. It's just mentioned crypto Skits. Yeah, that's what with the CBDCs, crypto, CBDCs, and the SDR special drawing rights. They're getting ready to set up the new system, cashless, which is why everybody just tried to push the cashless at the moment.
I think cashless is already in now, isn't it?
It's not fully up and running, no, because we're still using cash. They're going to have to get rid of cash completely to have the cashless system in place. And that's will be under the CBDCs and the SDR special drawing rights. They've got it in the background, but it's not fully operational. But that's the last part of the puzzle they've got to put in place. But they've got some, what I call playing the script of Revelation, and they're in that middle of that script at the moment, but they've not finished yet. They've still got some ways to go. So yeah, we're going to see.
You know what? I'm quite all right. Lodger just said they'll look at the town of East Grinstead in West Sussex. It has more religious than anywhere else in the UK. I believe to do with the Meridian
lines. No. I agree. You've got multiple places that are on, like Roslyn Chapel in Edinburgh is on there. That I'd agree with him. There's certain places that have got like for instance like Stonehenge. You know what I mean? that's another place where there's lots of ley lines and stuff. So I'd agree with him. This country's built on it's built on that you said that the ley lines, like you're saying. I'd agree with that. Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Do you know what I quite like the cashless thing, to be fair. I like the link thing. You know, when you buy the train ticket and you just have it on your phone instead of carrying the train ticket. I like things like that. I do feel naked without having no money in my pocket, though. That's what I like to know what I'm spending, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so Fort Candles has put the underrated us and still believe that it's going to be biggest. That is one thing I agree with Fort Candles on. I still feel because of the free will principle, there's going to be a battle. There is going to be a big battle. I see the fence is being shifted, and where people was allowed to sit on the fence before, they're not allowed to sit on the fence anymore. And I do see that. That's mentioned in the Matrix as well. The gatekeepers. I do feel that there's going to be some reckoning at some point where there is going to be this issue of a battle. I do see that coming. I see the darkness coming, and all that stands between
You said
and I mentioned that the other day with the Matrix, and I agree with Fort Candles. I do think there's a battle to come. I do think there's a big battle to come, and humanity's going to have to pass that test. So I do see the chaos coming, and it's going to be a battle definitely.
and
What that's going to look like, that's going to be that's anyone's
I'll
guess.
tell you what, Dale. Like Lodger said about the banks, there'll be more cash points. Well, I know in my town centre now, 4 banks closed down now. In my town centre, yeah, there's no bank. It's just cash machines.
I was just watching what Lodger said.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I agree with what Lodger said. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all sorts, there's all ways of they'll do it, but they can do whatever they want. I think humanity's still got to make a choice, like Fort Candles is saying, and it is going to be a bigger battle. I do see that bigger battle coming, so I'd agree with it. I'd agree with him.
I just think it's really bad they closed down the banks. I just really do. I mean, how are they going to cope and keep filling up cash machines when they run out of money in a big city? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So no, easy. I think the thing that Lodge said about East Grinstead, I'll look into that a bit more, but I definitely know there's ley lines on this country where there's definitely
I don't live far from them, to be fair.
Don't you?
No, you come down sometime if you want. You want to visit it.
Yeah, I'll have to go down definitely.
Only
go and see that.
about I don't know, about 45 minutes on the car. Yeah. Come down, mate.
What's this? I've just got something.
Of the and was Skits, it's gone. You Skits, keep it up. I wanted to read that. Yeah, but I like what are they gonna do now, right? How are they gonna cope, right? They how are they gonna cope, right? The banks are closing down. They're using cash machines. How are they gonna cope to keep putting the money in their cash machines? Because obviously they're gonna run out really quickly now, aren't they?
There's no money. There's no money like that. As you've been taught, there's money. Money don't work like that. I'm just doing something. Give me a second. I'm just in the middle of doing something.
Yeah.
There's not money in the way we've been taught. That's part of the problem.
That's gone cash only. There's a shop gone cash only, Roger. Okay. Oh, yeah, I know why they've done that, Roger, because when you use that card machine now, then companies are charging quite big for them to use their machines now. I know when they say if you own a kebab shop and that, they're charging £3.50 to use it per time. Now, which is quite disgusting, to be honest. Yeah. And I have noticed shops as well, like a pizza shop or kebab shop is linked to a corner shop now, all in one, which is quite good, I suppose.
All right, easy. I'm just going to share some with us. Have you got
Oh.
about half an hour?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, we'll share this now. So this is to what Lodger was saying about the grids. So I'm going to share
Yeah.
some about the grids. Just give me a second, Lodge. I'm going to agree with Lodge in what Lodge was saying. So I'm going to just share this with us.
Okay. Just going to the loo now. Did you hear me, Mac?
Yeah. You're fine. You're fine.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. All right, Lodge, I've got some on the grids. You might find this interesting. He mentioned some about grids and ley lines, so let's see what he thinks of this.
So Sumbra Head is Sumeria. The Shetland Islands, Babylon. The pi grid is the 357-degree grid that lays out all the stone circles across this country and worldwide. They all line up. Can you see that? So you've heard of a ley line. Whole ley, half ley, core ley. One-seventh of the great circle north of the equator. 1/17th of a great circle north of the Great Pyramid. Stonehenge. So I've been all around the south of England, more than 20 years, to the sacred sites. I don't have a vast knowledge of the sacred sites, but what I do have is a theoretical understanding of how it is that this line, which is a ley line, a straight line, the longest straight line that one can draw in the British Isles, this line, the Michael line and the Michael and Mary line, Michael and Mary Earth energy currents, they are like snakes in the ground, moving worldwide. The straight line made of churches is the ley line with the node points, and there are 21 node points across this line here. Glastonbury Tor is here, down this way, and Stonehenge is below, but Avebury is part of the Michael and Mary Earth energy currents. Avebury is the cathedral, Stonehenge is the church, but Stonehenge has more worldwide fame. So you can see here, there's the 33rd degree, which comes from the 360-degree modern grid, and there's also the 11th degree, and the two together make the rungs of a ladder. So there are 3 villages, here, here and here, called Jacob's Ladder. This is the original Egypt, A and E together, combined. So this is the flagpole, and this is the flag. The flag covers Palestine, which means in Latin between the walls, the Hadrian Wall and the Antonine Wall. So these walls we're taught in school were built 2,000 years ago by the Romans, who came in from Italy. They invaded. There was a bit of a skirmish up here, so they built one wall, built another wall, keep them out. That's our history, right? Everybody born in the sort of 50s, 60s, 70s onwards, presumably, who knows what they're teaching the kids, knows that. That's history, right? You might not be a historical expert, but you have got some idea. So when someone comes along and says, actually, that's all quite possibly just totally made up as of only a few hundred years ago, it's a bit of a shock. And nobody likes shocks. Nobody likes to be wrong. Nobody likes to be laughed at. And nobody wishes to hold a contrary view when it's wrong. And that's just normal human nature. So the issue is, what have they hidden from us and why? And who is they and who is us? And more to the point, it's not who is us, but who is you? Who are you? Well, Robert the Bruce. Now there's a chap. Here we have Annan. And we've got various stones here. This is where they crossed the Reed Sea, here on the Rose Line. The Rose Line is being built on by nuclear power station builders. That's what they say. EDF. Électricité de France. Financed by the Chinese military. It's globalism. This country has been very difficult to control. And the reason why they love to control it is because of its history. And it has history because it has energy. Originally, the energy comes from the George Channel, which is where you've got a gyre, a G-Y-R-E, that moves the water around with the tides in and out, and it brings up the sediment, and the waters are very rich with fish. So for thousands of years, everyone's camped out around the fish pond, the George's Channel. George's fishing. That's why it's called the George's Channel. That's where George used to fish. And here we've got Dundreich. Now that is at the top of a massive 3, 4, 5 triangle. So you have 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 relative units. And this line goes all the way to the top of the Giza Pyramid. And there are 85 churches, roughly, on this line. The hypotenuse line. Or the temple line. Now, it's not the line per se, it's the knowledge that the earth is living and needs caring for, like you care for your car. Now, one of the most important things about a car is it runs smooth, and the unbalanced wheel, you take it to the shop, they put some lead weights on it, and it runs smooth if it's unbalanced. When you change your tyre, that's what you do. So those lead weights on that tyre, and this is my theory, are like all of these stone circles. Stones, heavy weights. That's what they were doing, in my view. They were smoothing the harmonic resonance of the earth as an offering to her, because she holds everything that we love. So basically reducing earthquakes. That would be my hypothesis. The ancients loved perpetual peace, perpetual harmony. And now our species has created a major crisis for itself. A crisis in control, crisis in resourcing, population, suffering, poverty, war, all of these things. And a big part of it is to do with the calendar. Because the calendar is all about timing. And why is timing important? Well, it's all important. You don't get £20 million transfer fee as the best striker in the British, in the English team, unless you can kick the ball into the back of the net right at the end of the World Cup. So this is the original Rome, because in Gaelic, Letha means Rome. Letha is Leith. Edinburgh is Jerusalem. Now this was a map on the wall of my friend Dave Ritchie. And he used to live here in the Skye. The long way to Skye. He used to live about there. I was born here, Sellafield, Whitehaven. Actually, I lived in Birkermott. There you go. Calder Hall, they called it for a while. It's the biggest and the first nuclear facility in the world. At least that's what they say it is. And there's the Rose Line. So the Rose Line is 440 seconds west of the prime meridian. So it's a Terry's orange with 42 slices, imagine that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's just agreeing with Lodge. There's like the ley lines is very all the ancient sites. So as mentioned, what we're talking about earlier on, all the ancient buildings they've built on the ley lines, so they're all smooth with the harmonic resonance. So yeah, I'd agree with Lodge. Nothing happens by chance; it all happens with purpose. Definitely agree with Lodge on that one.
Wow.
Definitely agree with Lodge on that one.
All right, Dale, I'm getting a bit tired, but thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I need to share that link with the chat, so that they can have that. Because it's for Lodge. Lodge, you might find more of that interesting because there's quite a lot more of that left to go. I just want to share with Lodge because he mentioned about the ley lines, and I have to agree with Lodge. Definitely, like the ley lines, definitely relevant in this country. And I do think it has a lot to do with the people. I think we're all connected. You know. So I'm just going to put that link in there. I've got to put that link in the chat. Give me a second.
Well, Dale, thank you for a great show and for your time as always. It's most appreciated.
You've had enough already.
It's not that, mate. I just feeling tired. I was up at 5 this morning. My son woke up at 5 this morning. So I am just a bit worn out tonight, but you know what? We'll do an even longer one next time, mate.
Yeah, I'm just going to share this link with the chat, but no, at least people know.
So sorry, mate. Yeah, it's just caught up with me all the early mornings, the really early mornings.
Yeah, I'm just going
for some reason, it kept on waking up really early.
Oh, your son? He came up. Did he come up when I was with you the other morning? I was with you, and he came to see you. He got up.
Yeah. He's been working. I think it's because of you get confused with he thinks when he sees daylight, he thinks it's late. So and it's really weird. He just woke up about 4:45 in the morning. because it was daylight.
Yeah.
So he's getting confused with the timeline, basically.
Yeah,
Which
but
is-
that's right, because it's light time, so you just get up, don't you? Assume.
Yeah. It's just he's just chilling out when he gets up. But he has his breakfast and all that, but the time since it's gone out, it's really weird. It's just I'm normally awake most of the night, but it's just like where you do loads of walks and you do a lot of activities that get a bit tired, you know.
No, at least I showed up tonight, and you've got at least it was a show. It's not been controversial. Nobody's screaming and shouting. There's no drama.
No.
Links are posted in the chat.
Do you know what, Dale? It's been refreshing, mate. Thank God you're around, mate. I think it's what we needed, to be fair. The chat's really enjoying it because they're learning at the same time. So it's really good. Really good. Something to restream for. Well, you know, without shouting and insults and, you know.
Nobody shouted at nobody. Nobody got angry with anybody. Makes a change. Makes a welcome change. Nobody
Yeah.
moaned. Nobody got moaned at anybody else.
And the other thing, it's easy to manage as well, Dale. It's nice, you know.
Apart from earlier on when we nearly lost the chat because the chat was saying to you, there's nothing there. We can't see anything. I'm glad they said something, because if they hadn't done it, I wouldn't have known any better. I'll be honest with you.
Actually, speaking of that, when I was in the studio looking at it, it said stream interrupting or something. So that might have been that actually. It's been doing that with meets lately, but it's only the safest way to have meets at the moment. I will do like StreamYards. I might use StreamYards and just put the link of the meets in the StreamYards. But no, it's been enjoyable, Dale. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's fine. Just glad we could.
I will go live tomorrow, but I don't know if I'll do a football one or what, actually.
If Brentford playing tomorrow?
Yeah, I just looked at the Nottingham Forest scored in the last minute against Sheffield United tonight. But that was 2-1, and Leeds didn't win again. So Forest have got 3 points on the board.
Who scored?
Oh God, that Anoyi scored again. Anoyi, he scored a load last year. He's got 2 in 2 games now, and Wood scored in the last minute.
All right.
2-1. That was
2-1. First home or away?
Forest were at home.
Okay.
And
quite good at home.
Leeds drew at home with West Brom.
All right. Well, I'll let you get off then. But thanks everybody in the chat. I've just put the links. You put all the links in, didn't you? You put all the links in the chat.
Yes, I put them all in there.
Yeah, so they can you can get all the links. So everybody's in the chat. The links are there for you. I posted that last thing I did in the chat as well, so you can get it on going.
Oh, brilliant, mate.
Off so they can go and do their own due diligence. But it was an interesting topic, something different for a change.
No,
and
it was brilliant. I really appreciate it. The chat does as well. Yeah, that's sort of loyal ones in there, you know. So
small amount. There's only 12 of us. It's nice.
Yeah,
that's not 100.
It did go up to 30 at one stage. So you know, it says on here we've had nearly 550 views.
Yeah, you've done. Well, considering it's something that's not controversial.
Maybe we done it on the wrong day. I don't know. Friday.
All right. Well, I'll let you do your own thing anyway. But at least you've.
Oh no, we'll do a part 2, mate. We'll do a part 2, but we'll do it longer. Maybe an afternoon or something. Yeah.
No, I think you've covered it. I think because we've got all the links and everything, they can go off and do everything. We're fine. Yeah,
Oh,
because we've got links on it.
good
Yeah, yeah.
stream. Thanks, Easy Adele. We'll build up once people find out no drama. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
People
no
will
drama.
build up with it. If we could just carry on what we're doing, Del, yeah, just build up. And I think that's the good way to do. Because, you know, people are just getting fed up with the drama. So when they know that you've got a bit of a nice, calm thing here, people will start coming over for the right reasons. And people like you would get the recognition you deserve.
Well, it is what it is. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So we just put the information out there, let them research it, let them do what they want with it. But you wanted to do something different, so we did something different. So something
It's
different.
great,
for a
yeah,
change.
and I think it's well received. I mean, 14 likes, about 460 views, 11 current watching. I think it's quite good considering Friday, mate. To be fair.
All right, well, I'm gonna jump out. Thanks to everybody in the chat for being
Yeah,
patient with
and
us,
thank you
particularly out
again,
there who
Bill.
made earlier on. That was hilarious. So I said, we can't see it because I can't read the chat. When you actually presenting, you can't read the chat. You can't move between both. So when you're on, you have to read the chat. You see, because I don't know what's going on in the chat because I'm doing what I'm doing. So just that was the only thing. But they let us know.
Maybe
So at least let us know.
Might do a bit of fun actually. Might do a karaoke night actually.
When you think do what tomorrow?
I don't know actually. We can do something. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Well, it's something different, isn't it? You might as well. Some that I say songs that there's no drama. Whatever you decide to do with karaoke, it's fine. Songs got
Actually, last time we done karaoke, you brought people together.
And I read a laugh. I can't remember. I know I came on with. I know I did one with you not that long ago.
Yeah.
I think I've done one of your quiz nights, and I know we did a karaoke, and we done a
the quiz nights. The quiz nights of with a difference with me.
Yeah, we did. I have done a few with you though. You have done a couple.
Yeah, actually, I miss Emily being around for that. She was good with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got over nearly 1,000 views on that quiz night.
Yeah, I remember I was with you. I've done a couple of quiz
We
nights.
can do one actually, come on, because NT Anthony's very good at them, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth doing it. So we think about doing something. Just decide which one you want to do. But
yeah,
like I said, it's just fun and it's just nice to do something like that. So no drama.
I have got a couple of guests lined up.
You did say that, haven't you?
Yeah, I'll tell you who it is. I'm just waiting for him to finish what he's doing.
All right, that's fine. Hopefully you will get that.
Yeah, sorry, I spelled his surname wrong. Sorry. You know, from the old.
Oh yeah. I've seen it. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Yeah, hopefully
I'm friends with him. He runs that group with me on Facebook.
Okay, so, well, hopefully we'll come. Hopefully we'll do that.
So that would be great. Yeah.
Would be
and the other ones from been speaking to him on Twitter.
Well, hopefully that'll be good. That'll be pull that one off.
Yeah, because Callum had him on once.
Yeah,
from COE.
Yeah,
I think he's one of them guys that ain't got an ego. He just wants to put his message out. So that's going to be interesting because I want to talk to him. He got arrested for they arrested him thinking he was meeting with the IRA.
Yeah,
and he got banned from Ireland. And all of a sudden, his house got burnt down.
Yeah, so some kind of controversy, but we'll hopefully do get them on at some point. It'd be nice if you can get them on. If that's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Mm.
That all these people, mate, they talk anywhere they do. They don't care, you know, how they sit. He said to me, if you just get like 20 views or something, he goes, that's 20 people listening to it. You know what I mean? He goes, I
Yeah.
don't care once I spread my message.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
that's really good. And so we'll see what we'll do.
All right then. Well, I'll jump.
I'll tell you
I'll
what,
let someone else.
I'll try and get that Israelite to come on. What was his name?
Yeah, I haven't got his email. I did have it at one point. I haven't got his email. If I see him on Village, if I'm ever on Village, I'll ask him. But I
Oh,
haven't got his email.
is it Schiffer you're on about?
No, it's from America.
Oh, was his name Bernie?
No. I forgot his name now. That's what I mean. I hadn't seen him for so long.
Oh,
But he knew
I
his
met
stuff,
one
man.
that
Yeah.
from America. He was a really
Yeah,
nice bloke,
Yeah,
actually.
he used to come on Village quite a lot. He used to come on Village. Yeah.
Yeah, bring him on. Yeah, that'd be great. Because there was one guy, he was a really nice guy, actually. For an Israelite, if you know what I mean. Because they can be a bit crazy sometimes. Can't they?
They're very unique with their views. Particularly the ones in the States. The ones in the States are very particular. So
Yeah. But actually, I've been looking into it and I'm thinking that actually I'm beginning to think they're right with some of the things, to be fair. Especially the Jewish part. Yeah. Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm leaving one piece easy. Thanks for your time, and I'll
I
see you
know.
again soon.
Thank you, Dale. God.
No problem.
You're brilliant. All right. I'll see you later, mate.
No problem.
But I say, yeah. So I want to say thank you to Dale. Amazing skits. Thank you for taking part. It's been an honour. And it's good you can see me doing a show without the drama. Andrea, thank you, Lodge, for your input. Lils T, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And the ones who were at Pauline, yeah. Great. And yeah, Seaside Mark, Paul Key, Andrea. Thank you, guys. And I think that was really good. Look forward to more stuff like this. Okay. Drama free. Take care. And it was an honor skit. See you later.